Alright guys, and welcome back to the channel once more for another massive army overview. Today though, I don't have Phil with me and I don't have Lucy with me. I've got my good buddy Stu.
Hello.
Hi Stu. Stu's got his own YouTube channel, Battleforge Brothers, which he runs with Graham, so please go and check them out for some awesome battle reports. We've played quite a lot over the last few years, and we used to play about 18 years ago at school.
We did, yes. Absolutely. It's in fact, I haven't played you in 8th.
Nope.
At all.
Nope.
It's been far too long.
That'll have to change.
It will. Certainly will have to change.
I've got something, a little bit of nostalgia for you. Let's see if you remember this, Stu.
Oh, God.
It's coming.
It is. It's brutal.
They know exactly what to do. They might know a little kung fu. They're supercrons. They're known by everyone. They're great. They're best of mates. And they fight for what's at stake. They're Imotekh and Gavin.
Oh, God.
So, Imotekh and Gavin we did 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
When Phil still had crons. So, I'm actually going to re-upload them. So.
Yeah, I think it's best left just in a
Necron
crypt somewhere. But no, it was a good laugh.
It was. So, we're here obviously to have a look over my force, not yours.
Oh, yes.
Sorry.
That's fine.
And of course, go over the Codex. So there's a number of things that we're going to discuss today. First of all, though, we're going to look for the Dynasty codes. Now, what do you think of the codes, Stu?
I think, as with pretty much every Codex that's came out so far, I think it's brilliant in regards... It just gives each dynasty their own little character.
I think you're going to see a lot more of two of them than you are the others as well.
Sartek and Mefret are definitely going to be, in my opinion, is the two main ones that you're going to see. But to be honest, they all have their advantages. Absolutely.
And I think, especially with the Necron models that are available, you can vastly go either very combat heavy and fast moving. You can go very stationary and shooty. You can have a good mix. And these do balance out quite well and lend to how you would build your army. Yeah,
absolutely. Like, there's a few other players that I know that obviously have, for the Necron Dynasty, obviously more combat orientated for that one.
I do like that one.
It is a good one. It's the thing with the codes as well is that, especially if you're playing either friendly or you've got a dynasty that's painted in your own scheme, like obviously that you have, you're not restricted. You know, you can swap and change, and it gives that variety for each game. One, you might want to play a more aggressive combat based and use that code, or you might want to do the Mefret one other time. It's
exactly. So
just opens up. I think it's great.
So with Necron, I would absolutely run stuff like basically Necron allows you to re-roll hit rolls of a 1. Hang on, am I reading the wrong one? Yes, I am. I'm reading the wrong one.
It's my bad. It's what you call it. It's the other one. It's Novok, is it? Yeah, Novok.
Novok.
There's 3 of them that begin with N, so...
Reroll failed hit rolls for a unit when you are charged, or perform heroic intervention. Absolutely, with the buff to Wraiths that you've got, you're going to take Wraiths, you're going to take Scarabs, you're going to take Lychguard.
Flayed ones.
Flayed ones, absolutely.
Flayed ones are easily going to make a comeback. I don't own any Flayed ones.
I've got 14.
Well, I thought you would. You have to have everything. But no, Flayed ones, I can definitely see them making a comeback, because it's not very often that you see them on the board anymore.
Sartek, you can advance and still treat your weapon as an assault weapon. Handy, not amazing, but the one that you want is ignore the movement for heavy weapons.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
that's going to be brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, not so much on destroyers.
They get
Annihilation barges, Doomsday Arks.
Doomsday Arks, definitely.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I think you'll see that a fair bit, but I don't think you'll see loads of it.
You can't fire the main strength with the Doomsday Ark
if you move.
But with that code, obviously
you can't.
You still.
Oh,
you still can't. Right, you still can't.
No. So yeah.
It's a bit of a shame. I was thinking of a bit of a trick, but
yeah,
foiled again.
Neolak is reroll 1s if you stay still on. That is where you put your Doomsday Ark.
Yes.
Absolutely. So that's very, very handy if you like a static gun line. So, you know, tons and tons of warriors, Tesla Immortals, Tombblade. Well,
Pretty much.
Not so much your Tombblades.
Pretty much things like warriors, Immortals.
Your Annihilation barges.
Doomsday
and
Arks.
even a Monolith and an Obelisk staying still is going to be very, very handy.
See, what you could do with the Monolith, what you mentioned there, is deep strike it in really early. It's got the wounds to be able to hold up to quite a lot of firepower, unless your opponent is going to concentrate fire and try and kill it. But if it survives for the next turn, and you've got it in a prime location, it's rerolling 1s, and you're right, you know, in the midst of the enemy lines. It's quite a useful one to use.
You've got Mephrit, which is the one that I think you're going to see the most of.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
if you're within half of the weapon's range, you gain an additional -1 AP.
That's brutal.
Rapid fire warriors with -2. Teslas doing the double hits
AP
on
value?
5s with -1 AP. That's nuts. Interestingly enough as well, if you stick a Doomsday Ark in there, it will have -6.
Yes. Yes. I don't own a Doomsday Ark, but soon will.
Do you know what that means? If a Terminator didn't have an invulnerable save and is in cover, it still does not get a save.
Yeah. That's brilliant.
And then you've got Nephrek, which I don't... I want to like this.
I know I can see potential in it, but I don't think you're going to see it very often.
Basically, auto advance 6 inches, but literally you gain the Harlequin's rules where you just move through stuff.
Yeah,
it's handy, but the problem is there's so little there advances and stuff. If you advance, you can't charge, you can't fire. There is a few stratagems around it, but
yeah, but then obviously you're taking, you know, you're forcing somebody to take something that gives, you know, maybe it's like a brigade or multiple detachments to get them command points to then be able to use the stratagems. Whereas if you play one of the other different codes, you know, you haven't got that to worry about. But I can see its I can definitely see its potential, but I don't think it's going to be that popular.
Yeah. So moving on to relics. Obviously, we had the what was it? The Veil of Darkness that was in chapter approved.
Yeah, Veil of Darkness.
Which is of course teleport yourself and an infantry unit 9 inches away. Oh look, them warriors which are going to rapid fire at -2 AP.
What?
Yeah.
Let's get them closer.
Oh, and I use my will be done, so I'd be hitting on 2s.
Yes.
And maybe I hit you with a Triarch Stalker first to reroll the ones. So Veil of Darkness, it's a great, what do you call it, relic?
Yeah,
It's really
definitely
handy.
think that's going to be quite a popular one. But the relics are pretty decent anyway for them, to be honest. I think that a little bit better than the Dynasty codes in regards to what you're going to see. That's going to be more of a fluctuation of people taking different ones, rather than the Dynasties where you're going to probably see maybe 2 or 3 of them being the most popular.
Now, the first one is the Orb of Eternity. The Orb of Eternity replaces a Bearer's Resurrection Orb. It's still expensive, but potentially worth it in the right position. If you lose 2 large groups of warriors and then you pop a Resurrection Orb to re-roll, failed.
Yeah.
And obviously if you've got a Cryptek there, you're going to be doing it on 4s. The Orb of Eternity allows you to add 1 to the results for each roll. It does not say that it does not stack with Crypteks.
Yes, so
3 up re-rolling. Wow.
That's brilliant. To be honest, I would probably get the use out of that now when the Codex drops, or you lucky people who have got it early, because I can see that getting FAQ'd. To
not stack with a Cryptek.
To not stack. I can see it get. I'll be really surprised if they don't FAQ it. I'll be pleasantly surprised
if they leave it.
But I can see them FAQing it.
Mm-hmm. Next up, we've got the Nightmare Shroud. Increase the bearer's save by 1. In addition, enemy units subtract 1 from their leadership whilst they're within 6. It's okay.
It can be handy. I mean, obviously getting that extra, you know, the improved save, but with a lot of high strength weapons now, you know, with the -4s, -5s.
You're not going to take that over an Orb of Eternity or the Veil of Darkness.
No, definitely not. It used to be brilliant in like the likes of like 5th, was it 5th edition Codex that they introduced it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I can't see it being ridiculously popular in 8th.
You've got the Gauntlet of the Conflagrator. Did I say that right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Sweet.
Conflagrator. Or...
So it's pistol 1, range 8, no strength or AP. This weapon can only be fired once per battle. This weapon automatically hits its target. Roll 1d6 for each model in the target unit within 8 inches of the firer. That unit suffers a mortal wound on a 6. You've got to roll 6s. You've got to have a lot of models within 8.
It's too random.
If you're tar pitted by termagants or something and you need rid of them, it's situational.
Yeah, but then I mean, mortal wounds are so good in this edition. It's. I would feel a bit. I'm wasting my mortal wound ability on something weak.
You're only going to use that on something like Terminators and Custodes and things like that. So the next one, we've got the Void Reaper. It replaces a War Scythe or Void Scythe.
This one is cool.
It always wounds on a 2+ unless the target is a vehicle, in which case you count as Strength 7. -4 AP, 3 damage. There's a Stratagem or a Warlord trait, which I do like the look of, which means that you can't take invulnerable saves.
Yes.
I think that
accompanied with that stratagem is brutal.
Destroy Lord with that.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, it's always been a good one, and I think they introduced it in 7th, the Void Reaper, when the new Overlord came out with the proper scythe-looking War Scythe.
Yeah.
And everyone was just thinking, oh, what's that cool thing? And obviously the Void Reaper was born. It is a decent one.
I would always take this one over that pistol. The Bearer of the Lightning Field has a 4 invulnerable save in addition. Roll a d6 for each enemy unit within an inch at the start of the fight phase. On a 4+, the Bearer suffers a mortal wound. It's only 1, but it's a 4+, and you're going invulnerable.
That's really cool, actually.
It's cool.
Sticking on an Overlord, I mean, most Overlords have a phase shift to save anyway, so you're going to give that. You're not really losing anything out. You're getting 4+ invuln save anyway, and if you chuck them into combat somewhere, you've got the ability to dish out mortal wounds.
Yeah.
With Necrons not having Scythes to be able to dish out Smite for the mortal wound pools that lots of Scythes use,
I think
it's a nice one to have.
They've only got the C'tans to dish out mortal wounds, haven't they?
I mean, just things like Thousand Suns is an example. With me being a Thousand Suns players, you've got Smite left, right, and centre. With that, it's handy to have it.
Yeah. So next up is the Nanoscarab Casket. Models with phylactery only. It replaces the Bearer's phylactery, and you regain D3 lost wounds at the beginning of your turn rather than 1 from living metal. In addition, the Bearer also regains D3 wounds at the beginning of their opponent's turn, so you're getting it back not just on your turn. There's the potential to get 6 wounds back per game
That's
turn.
That's actually really cool.
In addition, the first time the Bearer is slain, roll a d6, and on a 4+, the Bearer stands up again at the end of the phase as close as possible to where he was, with d6 wounds remaining.
That's actually really good.
Wow!
That's brilliant.
That's so good. How many people are going to stick that on a Cryptek just to keep them alive constantly?
Even stick it on the new. If you give him the Canoptek
you mean this
cloak,
guy?
Give the Canoptek cloak so he can obviously keep up with the faster moving units in your force, such as like your Wraiths and your Destroyers. And if your opponent targets him, he's got that really cool ability to potentially get back up with D6 wounds remaining as well, which is brilliant.
Yeah. We have
Sempiternal Weave.
Wait. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Sempiternal
Infinitely model only increase the toughness and wound characteristic of the Bearer by 1. Toughness 7, Destroy Lord.
Yeah, it depends who you stick it on. It can be quite useful.
And then we've got relics for each of the specific dynasties. Yeah. We'll not go through all of them because obviously there's a lot of stuff to go through.
Yeah.
We do have, however, some Warlord traits. So we've got Enduring Will, which is reduce any damage inflicted by 1. That was in Chat Reprove,
yes,
I believe.
It was, yeah, I've used it myself before. It's quite handy. Something that's, especially if it's a las cannon, and even if they get on average, they're going to get maybe just a 3 for the wounds. Reduce it down to 2. Yeah, you're still losing 2 wounds, but it's obviously better.
Eternal Madness, you can reroll failed wounds for your Warlord in the fight phase if he was charged or performed a heroic intervention. Oh look, I've got reroll hits because of my Dynasty code. I've got that horrible Void Scythe and I'm rerolling wounds.
Stick that on a Destroyer Lord with Was it the Novok?
The reroll failed hits.
Yeah, was it
Yeah,
Novok? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I can see potential in that.
Immortal Pride. Friendly Dynasty units automatically pass morale tests if they're within 6 of your Warlord. And you can attempt to deny one psychic power. A lot of people are going to take that one. Because
just so they can deny, really.
Because reanimation doesn't work on Flayed models.
Yeah, that's right.
That stops any models fleeing.
Yep, that's quite a handy one.
Thrall.
I think it's going to be quite cool, actually.
Yeah. Thrall of the Silent King, the Slyant King. Increase the range of all abilities on your Warlord's datasheet by 3. If a Catacomb Command Barge has the ability, it doesn't apply to the Explode result. Basically, if a Cryptek has this Warlord trait, only increase the range of the model's Technomancer ability, not that of the other Crypteks in your army. So basically, you've got a 6-inch reach for your reroll reanimations.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
It's
I'm
good.
just trying to think of other combinations you could do in your head with that one.
There's not
a great deal.
There's not many.
Sticking on a Cryptek's probably the best thing.
Or increase the Lord to reroll wounds of a 1 by 9 to 9 inches, because he's changed a bit.
Yes, he has.
Implacable Conqueror. You can reroll failed charge rolls for friendly Dynasty units within 6 of your Warlord.
That'd be good to stick on a Novok Lord again.
Why?
Because then obviously
reroll and charge.
Reroll and charge. Then when you get in, you reroll and
failed hits. And then Honourable Combatant. If your Warlord targets an enemy character with their close combat attacks, add D3 to your Warlord's attacks. It's alright.
Yeah, it's fairly decent.
Sortek. Once per battle, you can reroll a single hit, wound roll, or damage roll. In addition, if your army is battle forged, roll a d6 each time a command point to use a stratagem. So that means you would roll 2 dice for a 2 command point stratagem, because all the armies have slightly different wording. So I think the Tau one, for example, you roll a dice when a stratagem is used, and on a 6 you get a command point back. So if it's a 3 command point stratagem, you only roll 1 dice. You get this back on a 5+, which is awesome. Mefrit, Merciless Tyrant, adds 6-inch to the maximum range of all assault weapons fired by your Warlord. In addition, your Warlord can shoot assault weapons at enemy characters, even if they are not the closest enemy model.
That's quite good, because if you're using Mefrit Dynasty, use the Voltax staff. Yeah, it's assault 3, range 12, and it's adding 6 to that?
Yeah, so it's range 18.
Yep, get within 9 inches, and you get that whoa, hang on a minute.
Get this. So it's strength 6, -3, 2 damage, and each time you roll a wound roll of a 6 in the shooting phase, the target suffers a mortal wound in addition to damage.
Get him within half range as well, and he's increasing that the minus on his AP from being Mefrit.
Is that Mefrit?
Yeah.
Fair enough. That
becomes -4.
That's good.
Fair enough, it's a 9-inch range, but 9-inch range, if anybody plays Melters, you're used to doing that anyway.
Yeah. Neolak, your Warlord, always fights first in the fight phase, even if he didn't charge. Basically, he becomes Slanesh.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Nephrek, your opponent must subtract 1 from all hit rolls to target your Warlord. It's okay. And Novok, each time you roll an unmodified roll of a 6 in the fight phase, for a model in a friendly Novok unit that is within 6 inches, you can make 1 additional hit roll. But that doesn't generate more. That's handy.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. But the problem with all of these is Immortal Pride stands out more.
It does.
Why would you not?
For the ability to be able to deny psychic powers as well, because, I mean, in previous editions, we've kind of not been able to do that, and there's not been a great deal that you can do. Things like Gloom Prisms was about the closest for stuff that you could do for that.
Yes, and I have 2 others in my army.
Gloom Prisms?
Yes.
Never took them.
So, without further ado, let's move on. So, just before we have a look at all of the named characters, which are nearly all Sortek Dynasty.
Yeah, pretty much.
Praetorians don't get the Dynasty keyword.
No.
Neither do C'tans.
Triarch Stalkers, but obviously Praetorians,
Yep.
and them, they don't get it either.
So, let's start with something that changed quite a lot, and that is the Overlord. So, an Overlord has a new ability, Stu.
He does.
Which means that he has My Will Be Done, so he can add 1 to the advanced rolls, charge rolls, and hit rolls for a unit to the beginning of the next turn. Great. He's got a Phase Shifter, 4+ Invuln. He can take a Resurrection Orb. In fact, I've just read that all wrong. That is the Overlord.
Yep, that's the Overlord. You're reading the Lord.
So the Lord can take a Resurrection Orb. The Lord's Will is his new rule.
I like this.
Reroll wound rolls of a 1 for friendly Dynasty infantry units that are within 6 inches of this model. So, you have your unit of Immortals, 2 or 3 units of Warriors, all within 3 inches of your Cryptek. Oh no, look who's that made the Cryptek. It's a Lord.
Yeah. I actually really like this because coupled in with an Overlord as well, you're getting My Will Be Done, and then the Lord's Will as well.
Most of the armies have a way to reroll, and I think the only one the Necrons had was the what's it called, the Triarch Stalker.
the target in array.
Yes. So we've also got Anrakia, is how we pronounce it. Anrakia.
Anrakia the Traveller.
Yep. Tachyon Arrow. You cannot get a Tachyon Arrow any other way.
No, you can't. You can't.
He has the only one. Strength 10, -5, D6 damage.
It is really good.
D6 is handy. I'd have preferred a flat 3.
Yeah, because the other problem as well is that it can only be used once. It's got a brilliant range. Strength 10, AP -5, fantastic. But you risk that rolling a 1 for the damage.
Yeah. He doesn't have the Dynasty keyword, so he won't break any of your allegiances. But you can't give him it either.
Yeah.
So he doesn't benefit from any of them. What he does give, though, is add 1 to attack characteristics for Necron infantry units that are within 3. Oh, look! Flayed ones. Lychguard.
Told you Flayed ones would start making an appearance.
And Lychguard. He's got Mind in the Machine. At the start of the shooting phase, choose an enemy vehicle within 12. Roll a dice, and on a 4+, you can choose one of the vehicle's weapons to shoot at an enemy unit. He's got a Phase Shifter, and he also has My Will Be Done, which is the +1 to advance, charge and hit rolls.
Just with the Mind in the Machine ability as well, it is using the Firer's ballistic skill.
Yeah.
So it's not using Anrakia's, unfortunately, because he's hitting on 2s.
Still, see that Land Raider? I'll gladly use that twin last cannon to shoot something else.
Absolutely. It's not very often that you're going to be messed up by that ability, unless you target something like, I don't know, like Arks.
Yeah. So next up we've got Vanguard.
Oberon.
Oberon.
Yep.
So
I have no idea how they pronounce these.
He works in conjunction with Zandrek, which we'll get to in a few moments. But if he is slain during the fight phase, do not remove his model until the end of the phase. He can still fight in this phase if he has not already done so.
Pretty handy.
That's pretty good, considering he's got 4 attacks with a War Scythe, hitting on 2s.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
-4 APs, +2 strength for it.
He is Sawtech, but he also has the Lord's Will, so reroll 1s for friendly Sawtech infantry units. Handy.
Yeah, definitely.
And he's got the Ghost Walk Mantle. At the end of any of your movement phases, you can remove Oberon and a friendly Sawtech unit that is within 6 of him, other than Zandrek, from the battlefield, and teleport them to within 6 inches of Zandrek, but more than an inch away from enemy models.
This is where he comes in quite handy, using him in conjunction with Zandrek.
And Lychguard.
Yeah. Take some Lychguard with him, pop 6 inches near Nemazor if he's in trouble.
Yeah. Also, he can tank wounds for Zandrek.
Yes.
So if Zandrek takes a wound, roll a dice, and on a 2+, Oberon takes it instead if he's within 3.
That's really cool if you make Nemazor your Warlord.
Yep. So some pretty good changes for the Lord especially, and of course Oberon also getting that. And is it nice that Anarchia hasn't got the Dynasty keyword? He doesn't break your allegiance, so it means you can get him in now.
I think he's going to be okay on his own, to be fair, because he can't get the additional benefits and stuff like that. But he's not gaining anything. But I suppose by the looks of his stats and everything, you're not really losing anything either.
No, so I think fair HQ choices.
Yeah, pretty decent.
Right, so next up we've got Orokin the Diviner. I love Orokin. I think he's really good, but he's Sawtech only now.
Yeah, he is. Obviously with the Dynasty codes, they're a bit of a double-edged sword. I think they're better more positive than negative, but yeah, he is only Sartek now.
It's like with the Tau Codex, all the really cool special characters, so Longstrike, Dark Strider,
Farsight.
No.
Oh, he's got his own, yeah, he's got his own stuff now.
Shadow Sun.
Yes.
And Onvar. All Tau set. Great. Overwatch on 5s. I want to take Bokan.
Yeah, you can't.
But them characters are so much better.
Yeah, they are.
So...
I don't do Tau, so you're gonna. There's a couple of things where you'll mention and my mind just goes blank. I like shooting at Tau.
Anyway, he's got Master Chronomancer. I said that right.
Yeah.
Friendly Sartek infantry units within 6 have a 5-up invulnerable save.
Now that's anything with the infantry keyword as well, though.
Now it doesn't say from shooting attacks either, which the Chronomatron only has.
Yeah, so that could that's until the FAQ if they do.
Nah, I don't think it'll change that.
They'll be in combat as well.
Yeah, it's like what Call's got compared to Dominus.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, they wouldn't call it Master Chronomancer if it was pretty much the same as just a normal Cryptek. So,
Technomancer, of course, add 1 to reanimation protocols for friendly Sarteks within 3 inches of any Sartek Crypteks, and the stars are right. Roll a d6 at the start of each of your turns. If the result is less than the current battle, so less than...
So you can't do it on turn 1?
Nope. Orokin uses the Orokin empowered profile for the rest of the game, though any damage he has sustained is carried over. So, I almost feel, right, like I want another C'tan model. Because there is a very beautiful model sat straight behind Stu that does a very similar thing, which you guys have only seen bits and pieces of. Morathai.
Morathai, yes.
That's a different story though. But I want to make his counterpart.
I've seen a few people do. I'm sure Imotekh the has one actually.
Yeah.
Of his own converted version of a C'tan kind of creature that he uses as the empowered version.
Oh, C'tan.
No.
You said C'tan.
C'tan, sorry.
So
C'tan, who cares?
He's not bad in his normal profile. He's a Cryptek.
His weapon's great.
He's okay. The weapon is better than Staff of Tomorrow, not a Staff of Light.
His weapon's great.
Yep. Strength user, which means that when he becomes empowered, he suddenly has a Strength 7 weapon. You can't shoot with it, but obviously it's strength user. -3, D3 damage. You can reroll failed hits.
That's awesome.
He gets 4 attacks when he bulks up, and he hits on 2s when he bulks up as well.
Stick him near a Lord as well, and you're also getting rerolling to wound.
Yeah. So after Orokin, we've got Nemesis Zandrek, another Sartek character. So I like Nemesis Zandrek. His stat line changed a little bit, I think, but
not by a great deal, to be honest. A lot of his rules have stayed pretty much the same, apart from the new things like My Will Be Done.
So he's gained My Will Be Done. Phase Shift to 4 invulnerable save. This is the one that changed though. Counter tactics.
Yeah, that has changed.
At the beginning of your opponent's turn, choose 1 enemy character within 12 of Nemesis Zandrek. Any aura abilities that character has cannot be used until the beginning of your opponent's turn.
Hello, Robote Gulliman.
Red Brute Gilliman, if you follow Mikey from Hellstorm.
Yeah.
And then he's got Transient Madness. Roll a d3 at the beginning of your turn for a friendly Sartek infantry unit within 6. +1 attack. You want that absolutely on Flayed ones or Lychguard.
Even Wraiths as well, to be honest.
Yep.
It would be handy on them.
Now here's a question. The next one is +1 ballistic skill. It says improve the ballistic skill of this unit by 1. So if you come ballistic skill 2+, you still, with Tesla Immortals, you still only do the doubles on a 6 because it's a 6 to hit. It's not +1 to hit. Your ballistic skill becomes 2+.
Yeah.
It's still handy.
It's handy for quite a lot of other stuff, of course.
And reroll failed charge rolls. So again, it's handy to get that in with Sartek. So that is those two guys. You'll notice the Lychguard in the foreground. We will come to them, as well as the Tombblades and the C'tans very soon. So next up, we've got the Overlord. And whilst we're here, Stu, we'll also cover the Catacomb Command Barge, because mine is magnetised.
Right.
So
cool.
I can't actually show you both at the same time because it doesn't work. So
should have brought mine. Mine's not magnetized.
it should be. So the Catacomb Command Barge, first of all, because we haven't got it here, it's great. It's got 8 wounds. It's now got the character keywords. You can't have it. I know the FAQ'd it, but
with it being in the Codex, especially now, it means that a lot of, especially if you just start out with Warhammer in general, you don't have to mess around. You haven't got confusions with things like chapter approved.
Nope.
It's great.
It's got Wave of Command, which means that
basically mine will be done, but a bigger range.
Yeah. It's got Quantum Shield, and that's the big one.
Yeah, I like Quantum Shielding.
Yeah, so basically, each time this model fails a saving throw, roll a d6. If the result is less than the damage made by the attack, the damage is ignored. Less than, so you can't ignore damage 1, because you can't roll less than a 1.
That is, yep, you can't.
It also means that if an Imperial Knight charges you, there's a very good chance it's going to do nothing.
Yeah, I haven't had it happen to me yet. They've also cleared it up as well that Quantum Shielding can't prevent mortal wounds.
Yeah.
Not sure if they put that in the chapter approved or not.
No, mortal wounds always count as a single wound. Even if you do 3 mortal wounds, they are 3 single wounds, so you can't stop it.
But I mean, Quantum Shielding's brilliant on any Necron vehicle that has it. It's just if your enemy's smart, they'll start targeting it with anything that does just 1 damage.
Bolters.
Bolters, heavy bolters.
Gauze blasters. Minus 2.
Yeah. You know, so they are a little bit vulnerable, but with them, especially having the character keyword, it makes them a little bit more safer now because it can't be targeted unless he's the closest.
Now, I do like the guns on this. The Gauze cannon is pretty cool. It's heavy 3, but I prefer taking the Tesla cannon. It's assault 3. And of course, on a 6 you get an extra 3 hits. But then I also replace the Gauze cannon with the Tesla cannon. I've already just said that.
Yeah.
No, you take another one as well. Is it... where is it? Gauze cannon... I'm thinking the Annihilation Barge, yeah. Forget me. But yeah, Tesla cannon, it's an assault weapon. It's got a Staff of Light. It's an assault weapon. So if you do advance, you're still shooting. Quantum Shielding, he's got living metal, so he's getting a wound back to turn as well. He can take a Resurrection Orb. Can he take... He can't take the Invuln.
No, the reason he doesn't get the Invuln, though, is because he's got Quantum Shielding as well, though.
Do you know what I miss?
I know what you're going to say.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it.
Chariot rules.
Yes. Charity rules?
I'll tank it on me 2 up. Yeah. I'll tank it on me 2 up. Oh, you can hit the vehicle, it's fine.
Yeah. I'm kind of... It's a bit of a... Same again, it's a bit of a double-edged sword with that, though, because I'm pleased that they kind of got rid of it, because it did get awfully confusing sometimes.
I always remember once when Graham charged Logan Grimnar into a unit of 20 Cabalites, and he was like, "You're going to Overwatch?" I was like, "Yeah." "Where am I firing at?" He goes, "Well, you have to roll a hit first before I tell you where I'm taking it." I'm like, "Graham, I'm strength 1. I can't hurt the chariot. If you make me roll all these dice to then go, I'm taking it on the chariot, I'd rather just not roll." And he made me roll them, and then took them on the chariot.
He can be quite wicked.
Anyway, Overlord. He's not quite as tough. He is toughness 5. Obviously, the Catacomb Command Barge is toughness 6. He's got 5 wounds instead of 8, which is still very handy. And of course, he can take a Staff of Light and a War Scythe. I'm actually just looking at the Void Scythe. I think that's new.
It is new, yeah.
So it's strength times 2.
You change your Staff of Light now for obviously your War Scythe, your Hyperphase Sword. You've also got the Void Blade, which is the weapon that the Praetorians can have. And then you've also got one of the new ones, which is the Void Scythe. I haven't really read too much into this at the moment, but it sounds pretty decent.
It's times 2 strength, which makes him strength 10. Minus 4, 3 damage, but it's minus 1 to hit. So he's hitting on 3s.
It's still pretty decent because he's got a high weapon.
It's very good. It's very good for a standard weapon because it's almost on par with the Void Reaper.
Yeah.
Apart from the Void Reaper, always wounds on 2s unless it's a vehicle.
I'd personally rather take that.
It's strength 10. You're going to be wounding more stuff on 3s.
I'd personally still rather take the Void Reaper?
I would, but there's other artifacts as well that I would rather have. If you got the command points, by all means, take one or two more. But I think the Void Side, it's a good way to go.
Really good weapon. Strength 10.
Overlord is fantastic HQ choice. He's got My Will Be Done. He can take a phase shifter for the 4 invulnerable. He's got Living Metal to get a wound back a turn. There's ways to get D3 wounds back per turn.
Stratagems.
And he can take the Resurrection Orb as well, which means that you can get all your infantry back up. An absolute solid choice.
Yeah, you can't especially if with all of the named characters, quite a lot of them having the Imotekh Dynasty, if you're running something different, you absolutely can't go wrong with an Overlord.
Very easy to convert, because obviously the War Scythe is out in his hand and the Resurrection Orb straight out. Very easy to clip the weapons off and do other stuff to it as well. So, as far as HQs go, I can't see a reason why you would not take an Overlord.
Solid choice.
Absolute solid choice. You'll notice there as well that I've got some Deathmarks, and I'm just flicking for the Deathmarks. Where are they? Stu, where are they?
Well, they are an elites, but I've seen a few people saying that in the points side of it, they're down as troops. Now
I think that's a misprint in the
They're
points.
really not going to do that. Just trying to find them. Where on earth have they... There they are. Deathmarks.
So, I love the idea of Deathmarks. Obviously, you can deep strike them. Hunters from hyperspace, you set them up, you drop them in. 9 inches away, you can shoot. You're automatically within rapid fire range. Great. You could also do an ethereal interception.
Yeah, ethereal interception, of course, is I've used it a few times in previous editions as well. Basically, when an enemy unit's setting up, once they deep strike, you can then kind of counteract that and deep strike as well.
And shoot
and
immediately.
Shoot straight away.
Now,
couple that in with one of the Dynasty codes. Because they have the Dynasty keyword. Couple that in with
the -1 AP.
Yeah, the Mephrit Dynasty.
You're 9 inches away, you're in rapid fire range, so you're hitting on 3s, 2 shots a guy, hitting on 3s. Any 6s to wound are doing a mortal wound in addition at -1 AP.
If you use the Mephrit Dynasty.
Yeah, you've still got to be careful, because obviously against Marines and stuff, they've still got a high armor save, and a lot of characters do, but pick your targets carefully.
Yeah.
You've got a good chance of...
That's why I think they're a bit of a mixed unit. I've had, in previous experience, obviously before the Codex and everything like that they tend to be a bit of a glasshammer unit, especially if you run them in squad 5.
5 is not enough.
You need at least, I would say, minimum, maybe 10. Like 7 or 8 minimum. But ideally, you want a 10.
I think even with the Mephrit keyword,
the more the merrier. With especially using that code.
The more viable. I want to like them. I love the models. But I just don't feel they've got quite enough punch for the points.
There's better things you can take.
Space Marine Scouts do it better. Well, they don't. They can't just. They can't drop down and shoot in your opponents.
For the points cost, they do it better.
Yeah, absolutely. Trazyn the Infinite. Now, isn't Trazyn the Infinite the guy that turned up to the Necron pylons, which are made of this new black substance stuff, which they've just introduced into the fluff to try and explain away the Cadian faults, which an unknown Belisarius called turned up and tinkered with and accidentally broke, ripped open a craft world, and destroyed Ali's home.
Yep, that's the one. He's also the guy who's been keeping Greyfax in his Tesseract vault for 10,000 years.
Do you know who else is in there?
Who?
Creed!
Oh, yes, he is. He is now.
With one arm.
Yeah, he's hiding. It's all part of his grand strategy.
In his Pokeball. Oh!
His Pokeball.
Right, if you haven't, what did you think of the Pokemon battle in the middle of the 3rd narrative mission?
Awesome.
Yes.
That was so funny, man. Anyway.
Ravager. No, hang on. Imperial Knight. Use Ravager Chainsword.
Brutal stuff. Anyway.
He's a beast.
Trazyn.
He's got 6 wounds, toughness 5, 3 attacks, hits on 2s in combat, with an empathic obliterator.
I like this guy a lot.
Plus 2 strength, so he's swinging at strength 7, only -1. D3 damage. If a character is slain by an attack from this weapon, Each enemy unit within 6 inches of the slain character suffers D3 mortal wounds.
Yeah, that is...
So not only does he tear the character a new one, he basically pulls them through reality and has them their acidic blood splatter all over it. It's kind of like the Ossa factor used to be for the Dark Eldar Arks.
Oh, yeah.
If you kill a model in the unit suffers an extra D6 hits.
I think, especially with 8th, that works so well because a lot of people in 8th, they're...
Bubble wrapping characters.
Yeah, especially Marine players because there's so many of them that can do lots of different abilities and it's great to keep them together. Get this guy in. If he's lucky enough and he kills a character in combat, there's a potential to dish out, 3 mortal wounds on anything that's bubble wrapped within 6 inches.
The problem you've got here, right? He's got 3 attacks. You may miss with one.
It's the lack of attacks.
You're gonna fail a wound because you're gonna be wounded. Even Marines, you're only wounded on 3s.
It's the lack of attacks.
And at -1, you will be lucky to get one wound through.
He's not built for combat, but in dire need, if he is there, there's the potential. I wouldn't build him and put him in my force for that purpose. What I would put him in there for is his other abilities.
Yeah, so he's got My Will Be Done, like most other Overlords do, and he's got Surrogate Hosts. If Trazyn is slain, roll a d6. On a 2+, you may choose another Necron's infantry other than characters. Choose another infantry character. Other characters that you can only include other than unique characters.
You can't replace a named character, basically.
Remove the model as if it was slain and place Trazyn in its place with D3 wounds remaining. If no such characters remain or you rolled a 1, remove Trazyn as a casualty. It's handy.
It's only handy if you build your force based on that is going to happen.
To be honest, I'd rather take an Overlord.
Yeah.
He's not awful.
I do like him. I think there's a lot of potential in him, but you need to build your force based around him. I would think you need to have more than one character. I mean, obviously there's multiple different ways of doing that, take multiple different detachments, but there's ways of doing it. If you want him in your force, I think you need to build the force around him.
And now,
Imotekh.
the Grandmaster.
Imotekh the Stormlord. He's always been good.
I don't know if he still is.
I still think he's decent.
He's got a 2-up save, and then he's strength and toughness 5, 6 wounds, hits on 2s, 3 attacks. But he has Gauntlet of Fire, Assault D6, automatically hits. It's basically a flamer. Yeah. But he's got the Staff of the Destroyer.
Yep, 18-inch range, Assault 3, Strength 6, AP -3, and 2 damage apiece as well. Very decent weapon, especially with it having a set damage amount. I like weapons that have that rather than D3s. And there is that chance you can roll the 1.
Yeah, absolutely. I would rather take 2 damage over D3.
Yeah, you can get the potential of the dice gods being really kind to you and giving you 3s all the time.
And you know what my dice rolls are like.
yeah, absolutely.
In melee, it's not bad. It's strength 6 -3, 2 damage. It's good AP.
Yeah.
Arguably, I say he's better than Trazyn.
Oh yeah, in combat. I mean, same again on his melee. It's still 2 damage.
Yeah.
Now, it's a reliable 2 damage.
He does have a lot of extra rules.
Yes, he certainly does.
Living Metal, of course. Pharaon of the Imotekh Dynasty. Imotekh the Stormlord can use his My Will Be Done ability twice a turn.
Awesome.
But only if you choose friendly Imotekh infantry units to be affected by it both times. He's got Lord of the Storm. Once per battle in your shooting phase, Imotekh can call the Storm. Pick an enemy unit within 48 inches of Imotekh. That's most of the table.
Yeah, that's really good. Especially with you being used to having 24-inch range. Necrons.
Other than a character, and roll a d6. On a 2+, that unit suffers that many mortal wounds. Then roll a d6 for each enemy unit within 6 inches of those. And on a roll of a 6, they suffer d3 mortal wounds.
That's much better than what it used to be.
That's so much better.
On a 2+, you get a 6 mortal wounds.
And then on the roll of a 6 for any units nearby, take d3. That, it's situational, but especially like Dark Angels, Azrael, and Hellblasters.
Yeah.
He gives them all the. Do you know what I mean? Pick the Hellblasters.
Yeah.
Bang! You're doing damage to Hellblasters, and then potentially dishing out mortal wounds to Azrael and everything.
Yeah, because you can't target the actual character, but the subsequent hits can still hit them. It is only once per battle.
Mortal wounds.
Pick your opportunity. It's mortal wounds.
Yep. He regains D3 wounds with his living metal rather than 1.
That's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, he's already got 6 anyway. That's really good.
And he's got, of course, got his 2 up. He's got My Will Be Done, where he can use it twice. Blood Swarm of the Necro Scarabs. You can reroll failed hit rolls of a 1 for friendly Imotekh Flayed ones that are within 12 of Imotekh. That's very handy.
It is handy, but it depends how you play Imotekh, because if you're keeping him, within your lines, maybe you've got a gun line to use his ability for the Pharaon, and you want him for the My Will Be Done to be twice. You're going to keep him with your gun line. The only kind of problem I see here is your flayed ones if they're further ahead.
It's +1 to hit, so +1 to hit on the flayed ones, reroll them once to hit.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is if you've got your flayed ones ahead, because flayed ones can deep strike. So if you're if you're playing it that way, that can be a little bit of a problem there. But if you're clever, then absolutely.
I found that
I think it's going to be really handy. There's
a lot of characters that you really want up there, but other than the new Cryptech, which we'll get to in a bit, other than that, and the Catacomb Command Barge and the Destroyer Lord, nobody can move fast.
Yeah, true.
They're all slow. So these guys aren't bad. I think Imotekh is very, very fluffy. I think he's pretty good if you're gonna go combat-y, because Imotekh's the advanced one, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. So there is the ability to get him up there with using the Dynasty code. A couple of the other rules he's got as well as, Grand Strategist. It's handy. If your army's Battleforged, you get an additional command point.
Right. Why does Dante not have something like this?
He should, yeah. I suppose
Gulliman sees him as an equal.
GW just...
Dante is he's 250 points. He should not be that much, and the Axe Mortalis should do a flat 3 damage, not D3.
GW just doesn't like Blood Angels. Or doesn't like Dante.
Unfortunately, we'll not get
I agree with Phil. He should be in a Golden Dreadnought. He should have been killed.
What? Yeah, he wants to die. If you've read the Dante
that's why I'm saying it.
Yeah.
It's because he's bloody old.
Well, you never know. Maybe Anarchy could do him a favour. Good old buddy or pal.
Fist bump.
So
Phase Shifter as well for Imotekh before we move on.
Yeah.
Standard 4-pin one.
And now reporting in on your friendly neighbourhood Spider-Man.
Yep, Illuminor Zeraz, however you say his name, the Spider guy.
Wait, someone's outside having a rave.
Only an reason.
So he's got the Eldritch Lance.
I like the Eldritch Lance a lot for shooting. Brilliant.
Yeah, it's only 1 shot, but strength 8, -4 D6 damage. However,
it's like a las cannon.
Almost. But in combat, it's strength user, -2 1 damage.
He's only strength 4?
Yeah, he's not very strong at all. He does have Master Technomancer, so add 1 to reanimation protocols for friendly Necrons within 3. He does not have the Dynasty keyword.
No, he doesn't.
Great. So you can take him in any other of your battalions.
Same again with Anarchy though.
Yeah.
You're not going to gain any of the benefits.
All the others were Imotekh, weren't they?
Pretty much. Trazyn is Nihilic, if I remember rightly.
Right.
The majority is Imotekh, but this is one of the unique guys who you can take pretty much in any dynasty.
He's also got mechanical augmentation. There was another guy further up had that as well, but this is +1 strength, +1 toughness, or improve the ballistic skill by 1. Again, doesn't work on Teslas.
It's a bit of a bad rule, I think, because it's still you're rolling a D3 to see what characteristic. So
you don't want +1 strength on your warriors.
Yeah, and you've got to choose the unit first before you roll. So it is going to happen at some point. You're going to roll and get that +1 strength for your warriors. You're going to get the +1 ballistic skill for you know, Wraiths if you haven't given them a weapon.
Plus
or
one,
like that.
plus one toughness. You can't have Wraiths. It's only Immortals.
Oh yes, yes. It's
toughness 5 Immortals in cover.
yeah, that's I mean that's handy.
That's handy. And even the plus 1 ballistic skill. But why do you want plus 1 strength on your Immortals?
Toughness is probably the best result to get there because it's universal.
Or ballistic skill.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's not bad. He's pretty good. It gives you, you know...
He's decent.
If you're running Warrior and Immortal Heavy, you know, go with him because you get the extra augmentation for free over the slight cost of a Cryptek.
With him being a Cryptek as well, though, he still gets, obviously, the ability to +1 on the reanimation.
He does, but what he does not have...
Doesn't have a Chronometron.
Chronometron.
Or Chronometron, however you say
Or,
it.
Lawrence was saying Chronometron.
I've always pronounced it Chrono, because like Chronos here, Chrono, Chronos.
But Lawrence was pronouncing it wrong.
Oh well. To be honest, we're probably pronouncing half of the names wrong.
Yeah. So, Living Metal, of course, as everything has. Chronometron, which gives everything a 5-up invulnerable save within 3 against ranged weapons.
This is for the standard Cryptek.
Yes.
Yep.
And who was it? Oracle that just gave them a 5-up invuln.
Yes.
So if you go on Sortek, Oracle is a very good choice. You've got Technomancer, so +1 to all reanimation protocols again. You've got Staff of Light, which is 3 shots, strength 5.
Decent enough weapon.
Yeah. Of course, you can advance and still shoot it. Granted, you're on 4s, but nah, it's okay. You've also got the new guy, which isn't in this picture, because obviously I took these pictures about 6 months ago, Stu.
This is the new equipment that you can give a Cryptek.
Yep.
Canoptek cloak.
If you haven't seen it already, please go and check out the tutorial, because that's up to date as well. So you can see my Cryptek with Canoptek cloak. Basically, he can move 10 inches against the fly keyword, and in addition, you can select a friendly Dynasty model that has the living metal ability, and is within 3 of him. The model regains D3 lost wounds rather than 1, so he can heal other characters.
Yep, handy. Definitely handy.
So that Lord that you've got nearby, or that Overlord, champion, keep them alive
D3
even
instead of the
longer.
1.
So Crypteks are awesome. You're going to see Crypteks, Lords and Overlords in every list.
And so you should, absolutely.
So next up is the Triarch stuff. We've got Praetorians and we've got a Stalker.
Yep.
I like Stalkers.
I love that. I've just recently got mine painted up as well, actually.
Unfortunately, I forgot to take a proper photo of mine.
Yeah, it's lurking in the background, but it's well, it's a giant spider, so it should be lurking anyway.
Yeah, it's been updated now. It has the explodes thing.
Yeah, I never used to have it, even in Chapter Approved didn't have it.
Nope. Heat Ray. It's heavy 2d6 flamer range, or it's a heavy 2 melter.
Yeah,
it's great.
It's a decent weapon. I think with Triarch Stalker, the weapons that you can give it, I always see floating around on the internet. There's all 3 of the guns are quite good at certain things, and I don't kind of see a wrong way or right way of what gun to take for these.
Yep, because the particle shredder range 24, heavy 6, strength 7, -1 D3. That's really damn good.
And there's ways to improve it as well.
And then the twin heavy gauze cannon. Mine's got a heat ray. I've always liked the heat ray.
Well, mine's magnetised, which no doubt yours is as well. But
It is. I just don't have the other weapons.
Oh.
I got it second hand.
Oh.
But you've just given me a very cunning idea.
Aha. Heat ray
yeah.
is really good. It's always a reliable weapon. There's loads of people using them.
10 wounds, ballistic skill 3+. It does degrade. It's toughness 6 with a 3-up armor save. It has quantum shielding.
Yes.
So it's hard to shift, but it has target and relay.
Yeah, just before we go into that though, with quantum shielding, I didn't touch on it earlier, just with quantum shielding, I think the way to go is if you're going to build, have a lot of this, is for quantum shielding, have a lot of stuff that rely on it as well in the force, because then you're forcing your opponent to target. In their mindset, they're going to be targeting all of the big stuff that has the quantum shielding with the stronger weapons, unless they're a clever player. and then it means that, you know, you're negating a lot of that damage coming in.
Yeah.
But of course, I mean, like say, if you've got like a clever opponent, they're just going to do the other. But on the flip side of that, las cannon, are they really going to waste it on a warrior?
You give me some ideas for some interesting lists.
Ah, see.
Quantum Shielding actually states now it can't prevent damage from a mortal wound.
Yeah.
But target and relay, reroll hit rolls of a 1 for any friendly Necrons that make a shooting attack against a unit that has already been attacked by the Stalker.
I like the word.
First weapon you use every single turn, use them.
The thing is as well, it doesn't even have to hit. It just says that makes a shooting attack.
Yeah.
It doesn't say whether it's failed to hit, whether it's failed to wound, nothing. As long as you say, I'm going to shoot this at that, or damn, I rolled a 1. Doesn't matter. Because everything else will still get that ability for the target and relay, which I personally think is amazing. Whether they're going to FAQ it or not, just to put that in.
I don't think they will, because it's the same as the index.
Always the index is the same wording. So you shoot that first. I mean, it's got a fairly decent ballistic skill 3+ anyway, so 9 times out of 10 you're going to hit. But if you do get that 1 or 2, doesn't matter. Oh damn, I failed to hit. Oh well. But
it doesn't have Dynasty codes.
It doesn't.
And neither do Triarch Praetorians.
Yeah, Triarch stuff. I think they've gone with fluff for these.
Yeah.
For why they don't get the Dynasty codes.
Because they're the Silent King's Guard, basically, aren't they? So they're not aligned to a specific dynasty.
They're just kind of borrowed, I suppose. They just lend the support.
Now, interesting thing here, the Rod of the Covenant was always the weapon everyone chose in 7th because it was AP 2.
Yes. Now
it's still good, but I don't know which way I would go.
It sounds good. It's the damage that it puts out which puts me off.
Mm-hmm. I feel it should have been 2 damage.
Yeah, it's strength 5, AP -3, but it's only 1 damage, so you're puncturing through armor. I mean, you're making Marines 6 up save, but it's 1 damage. I mean, against a Primaris squad, 2 wounds apiece, you're only taking a wound off them.
They've only got 2 attacks. You're not getting any benefits at all. Apart from my will be done, maybe. I want to like them. They don't do enough. I feel at least in melee it should be 2 damage because the strength 5, the toughness 5, and 2 wounds. They are one of the faster units in the Codex.
Yeah, with a 10-inch move.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But then it's a case of, do I want to take the Particle Caster because it's strength 6 with no AP and 1 damage, which is a pistol. But then you've also got the Void Blade, which is strength user -3.
The strength 5 standard anyway, so that's fairly decent for the strength.
But you get an extra attack. It does exactly the same as the Rod of the Covenant in combat, but with 1 more attack. The advantage of taking the Rod of the Covenant is you've got -3, but not as high strength, and you can't shoot in combat. I think there's arguments for both.
I personally would go for the Particle Caster and the Void Blade. Because with them having that fast movement, they can get to where they need to get in range with the pistols, and also to get in combat. It's a shame because these guys look so awesome, that they're a really cool looking model, but with both the Rod and the Void Blade, they're looking really good on the actual table. I mean, they've got a pretty decent ability, you know, they automatically pass morale tests, but most Necron units have leadership 10 anyway, so you kind of have to have suffered a lot of...
at least 4 or 5.
You're going to have to have suffered quite a decent amount of casualties for that to worry you.
They've got reanimation protocols, so they're going to come back. I want to like them. Now, I've got 5 here that are unbuilt from the Forge Bane box, but I want to build them as something else, Stu.
What is it you want to build them as?
War Scythe Lychguard.
Aha! And swiftly moving on.
So here we go.
Troops.
Bread and butter.
Trusty troops. I love warriors.
You don't have a Necron army unless you... Well, I've only got 40 warriors. I had over 100 at one point.
I've got 30, fairly decent amount.
So, yeah, I can probably do with another 20 though.
Yeah, I totally agree. Warriors
The new Start Collecting box though. You get Overlord. You get an Annihilation Barge, which can double as a command barge.
It's awesome.
Or an Annihilation Barge and Lord. And the Warriors? No, Immortals. I
Yeah,
can't remember what's in it.
you get 2 squads of warriors in it. Pretty sure.
It's not too squad. I can't remember what's in it, but the new stock.
I can't remember. I know
so
that you get
good.
the Captain Command barge, which is awesome.
And if it wasn't for the fact that I already had loads of stuff out of it, I would have gotten another one. But no. These guys, absolute brilliant. So, how would you like to assault with them? With +1 to hit because of my will be done. So move and advance forward and still shoot with strength 4 -1.
With all the Dynasty codes as well. Obviously, with these guys having rapid fire weapons, changes over to assault using Sartek Dynasty.
There's and then of
so
course
many different things you can do with these guys now.
Is it Method for an extra -1?
Yeah, Method. Get them within
and there's
12
so
inch
many
range.
ways to get them within 12 inches. These guys, as far as it's 130 points for 10.
I can see Night Sights coming back for Method.
Yeah,
dropping them off.
I seriously considered doing it.
Yeah.
You know what? Warriors are fantastic. I think if you're gonna run them, unless you're going for command point spam, so you're gonna get like units of 10 to try and get a brigade built, which is very hard in a Necron army.
It is, yeah, for points as well.
You absolutely want 3 units of 20, and you take that Warlord trait to stop you from failing morale.
Yeah, because especially in 8 with big blobs being the ones that suffer quite a bit for morale. I mean, Necrons, like I said earlier, leadership 10, so they don't really have a great deal to worry about.
But when you've got a unit of 20, someone is going to pour fire into them. You then not take morale, which means you're always going to get your reanimations. You get a Cryptek there, so you're on a 4+. You get an Eternity Orb or Resurrection Orb, which means you're re-rolling potentially with an extra +1. But how do you make these guys even better against you?
Stick a Ghost Ark near them as well.
Yes, now I don't have my Ghost Arks painted because I wanted to kill myself last time I painted the Doomsday Ark. So I haven't painted mine, and I absolutely have to because Ghost Arks are phenomenal. Not only do you get all, it's a big point sink to do what we're going to say here. Obviously, the Overlord, the Cryptek, the Lord, and then you've got the 3x20 warriors.
I don't know, to be honest, Don, about the points dump. You know, if you're playing a pretty, maybe it's 2,000, maybe it's 2,500 point game, most of the units that were mentioned are probably going to feature in your force anyway. Yeah. It's more the numbers for the warriors, really. But
to really, really stick to it and be that silver tide of unmoving, resurrecting.
It's
Necron
very, very fluffy
warriors.
doing it this way.
It
very,
is.
very fluffy.
And it's also very horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So, of course, stick the, I think I mentioned stick the Lord in there to reroll wounds over 1.
Yep.
Stick all 3 characters plonk right in the middle. There you go.
Rerolling hits, rerolling wound.
And then stick a, what do you call it behind them? Triarch Stalker.
Triarch Stalker, so they can reroll their hits.
My will be done. And of course, getting back up on a 3-up rerolling on that turn. On that Resurrection Orb. And of course, if your characters do take damage, the Cryptek with Canoptek Cloak can heal them. Do you get where I'm going with this?
Absolutely. And then, of course, here is the icing on the cake, the Ghost Ark.
So this only repairs warriors. If you've got 3x20 warriors, brilliant. It's toughness 6. It's not as hard to take down as it was in 7th. It had armor 13 in 7th, didn't it? Because of quantum shielding.
No, it had armor 11, but then it went up to 13 for quantum shielding.
Yeah. 14 wounds, and it's only got a 4 save.
It's the save that lets it down a little bit, but it does have quantum shielding, which has saved me a lot.
And I think that's why it's only got the 4 save. So obviously, quantum shielding, we know exactly what it's going to do. Interestingly enough, I was going to say that it has a different amount on the rule every time we've looked, but it doesn't. I just saw the 4 and the 3. It is hovering, so it's nice to see that they've actually added in measure to the model.
Yeah, rather than measure to the base, which is a pain on a Ghost Ark.
I learnt this the hard way with my Harlequins, because, big Starweaver, much bigger than the base, and someone pointed out to me when I tried to be dirty, Stu.
That doesn't surprise me.
I tried to box...
dirty man.
I tried to box somebody in, and it was actually young Maxwell Kosh that told me about it because he was playing Ynnari Quins.
Right.
And I got drawn against him at no retreat, and I tried to box him in so that he couldn't get his Harlequins out to then shoot them because of Ynnari. Yeah. And he was like, well, I'm sorry to tell you, Harry, but that gap that you've left there, I'm going to get 3 Harlequins in there. I'm like, no, you can't. You're within an inch of the model. And he was like, doesn't matter. It's based on these. They haven't been FAQ'd. I was like, oh, what? You've just schoolboyed me. So, it's nice that they're actually paying attention.
Clarified it.
And I expect the Harlequins to be updated. And I know a lot of the Dark Eldar was FAQ'd, which we'll see next week. Me and Lucy will be going over that. So please check out all the... Well, it was Tau Day last week. It's Necron Day today.
Terminators!
It's Darker... Oh, yeah!
Dun, 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 dun.
Phil loves doing that.
I know. What a shame that it's copyrighted.
And next week's Dark Eldar Day.
You'll have to have, like, I don't know, for Dark Eldar Day, you'll have to have some kind of porn music in the background for them.
Bone cam music.
Yeah. Anyway.
And then the crack of a whip.
Yeah. Anyway, moving swiftly on.
Yeah, sorry.
Ghost Ark, the main ability, obviously what me and Harry were talking about, is the repair barge ability.
Yeah. So what does it do? You can make reanimation protocol rolls for slain models and units embarked on a Ghost Ark, even though they're not on the battlefield. That's the only exception I have ever seen.
Mm-hmm, yep.
Any models returned to the unit this way are added to the number of models embarked. If any models cannot be returned because there are no more room, they are not returned. In addition, at the end of your movement phase, you can make reanimation protocols for slain models from Dynasty warrior units that are within 3 of the Ghost Ark. The Ghost Ark is a massive model, Stu.
Yes, it is.
You can easily
very long.
You can easily cover 3 units with one Ghost Ark. Easily.
So basically, you can do your reanimation as normal, and then at the end, you can do it again.
You cannot use this ability on a unit that has been the target of a Resurrection Orb or Eternity Orb.
That's the only thing you need to be careful about. It's you either do one or the other.
I would absolutely do the Ghost Arks until my opponent has killed the Ghost Arks, then pop the Resurrection Orb.
Take the Resurrection Orb anyway. Yes, just clarifying, it is Resurrection Orb and the Orb of Eternity. So yeah. I was just wondering whether the Orb of Eternity negated that. But yeah, so being able to reanimate with the +1 from the Cryptek, all the other buffs that you gave the warrior unit as well, and then being able to, at the end of the movement, do it again.
Do it again.
Brilliant. And then, just like what you said there, Harry, once the Ghost Ark's destroyed, yes, you've lost a couple of, maybe 100 or so points worth, but then you've got your Orb of Eternity or your Resurrection Orb as a backup for that as well.
And the not bad in horde control because you've got 2 Gauze Flare arrays. Rapid Fire 5, it's basically a Gauze Flare that a warrior carries. That's 20 shots if you're rapid firing. That's a lot. And especially if that's at -2 with the Mephrit codes.
Yeah, I was just about to say, another great thing about the Ghost Arks as well has probably been mentioned quite a lot of times, but now, of course in 8th, with everything just being measured from the model, you don't have to do that stupid thing in 7th where...
Pivot!
Yes, where you have to fire one side one way, one side the other. No, none of that anymore. Everything can just...
Do you know what I hate? Do you know what really knocked me with that rule? Land Raider Redeemers with a flamer on each side.
Yeah.
Or Baal Predator.
Yeah.
My turret can shoot that and one heavy flamer can, but my other heavy flamer is going to do nothing.
Yeah, it was a weird... I'm pleased that they've clarified that. It makes sense that... I mean, if things like on the games, like Dawn of War and stuff like that, where you actually see the moving and pivoting the guns and stuff
actively
like that,
you're not going to sit still. You're actively... 8th is a better game.
So pleased that they did that.
So next up is the age-old argument that's been going on for 9 months now.
Yeah.
Which is better?
Gauze or Tesla? Or Immortals and Warriors?
I would absolutely take Immortals every time. And my good friend Sam is currently painting 30 Tesla Immortals.
I've seen people use Immortals and pure, just Immortals, no Warriors.
Yeah.
It does look really cool, because they're obviously the bigger, they look chunkier, they look, well, like a Terminator, like from the film, they look really cool. They've got a better stance than the Necron Warriors, unless you convert them.
They're expensive to buy, though. They're like 20 quid for 5.
For 5. They're a little bit more in points. They're not too overcosted.
I think 90 for 5? I think it's 170 for 10.
Yeah, 170 for 10, yeah.
But here's the deal, right? Gauze Blaster, Rapid Fire 1, range 24, Strength 5, -2, 1 damage. How would you like that at -3, Stu?
Yeah, I would love that. Yeah, this is exactly what I'm thinking with things like getting them in close, using night sights, dropping them behind enemy lines.
I think against Marines and stuff with a 3-up armor, they're going to be horrible.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Against Hordes, however, I think anything with a 4-up save or less, so what is it, Guard, Termagants, Hormagaunts, not Standard Eldar.
Yeah, some Eldar units, yeah.
All the Dark Eldar stuff.
Yeah.
Anything that you need weight of dice to take down, right? Tesla Carbines.
Tesla all the way.
Assault 2. On the hit roll of a 6, you're doing 2 extra hits. My Will Be Done means that you're +1 to hit, which means you're doing it on 5s. With a Stalker means you're re-rolling 1s.
With a Lord.
Re-rolling wounds. Re-rolling wounds at Strength 5. And of course, if you're within 12 inches, -1 AP.
Yeah. Really good.
Both have merits.
Even without using the Mephrit Dynasty, they're a decent weapon. Really good weapon.
And of course, they do have a 3-up save. So stick them in cover and you've got a 2-up.
Yeah.
And they're going to be hard to shift. Oh, and what's that? You're going to use that guy that augments Immortals and makes them toughness 5? So next up, we move on to Lychguard. These were massively expensive. Really, really expensive. The shields alone used to be...
They've come down in points.
I'm looking for the points.
Which is always nice.
Look, I scribbled in the back of my index when I found out what was changing. So dispersion shields went from 15 down to 12. But Lychguard themselves... Huh. No, they didn't change that much.
Yeah. Yeah, so...
Sword and Shield Guard were amazing in 7th. Good luck moving that Lychguard from the... What was the core choice? You know which one I mean now. And the Lord let you reroll reanimations of a 1, and then you stuck Orokin in there, which meant that you
had...
Yeah. So you had a 3-up invulnerable save, rerolling 1s, followed by a 4-up reanimation, rerolling 1s.
Yeah, they were brutal.
Yeah, and then look outstairs if you happen to get the characters. Yeah, horrible. Anyway, toughness 5, 2 wounds, strength 5. Great. Hyperphase swords, +1 strength means you're strength 6. I don't think there's that much that's like toughness 5 or 6. Toughness 5, 6 and 7's in that like weird spot where because of the new mechanics it's not great or bad.
Yeah, you tend to get a lot of either low or high. Really.
Yeah. But still -3 AP, you're chopping through Marines.
The only thing, I mean, and I run Lychguard with shields and swords as well. And mine, unfortunately, aren't magnetised, which just means I'll have to buy more. The thing about these guys is that the strength 6, the AP is great, it's AP -3, but it's still just 1 damage.
Which is why I like the War Scythe at +2 strength, means strength 7, means you can take out light vehicles easily, -4.
Which is brilliant.
And 2 damage.
I think War Scythe Lychguard are going to be much more popular.
Which is, I think, why I'm going to have to build the 5 that I've got from Forgebane as Scythes, because I do have 5 that you may have seen earlier. Of course, you know, keep them alive with a Cryptek, get them in combat. I would absolutely run these guys with the reroll failed hits for being charged or charging. Keep them as a deterrent if you run a Mephrit.
Yeah.
Because they're good. Keep them in your backlines as a deterrent. Force your opponent to deal with them. I like Lychguard. They're really cool. We've also got Flayed ones. Now, they did lose an attack, Stu.
Yeah, they used to have 4 attacks apiece. With Flayed ones, like I said earlier, I think these guys are going to be a lot more popular on the board with some of the stratagems, the Dynasty codes, and a combination of everything else.
They did drop 4 points.
Yeah, they dropped in points, so they did get cheaper. I mean, obviously, they're pretty standard for movement, 5-inch move, weapon skill 3, 1 wound, toughness 4.
It's interesting, right, because you can augment these with Orokin. So if the toughness 5, there's more survival. If the strength 5, they're more killy.
With Illumino, you mean?
That one.
Yeah.
Give them My Will Be Done means that you've got weapon skill 2+. And, you know, with Imotekh, you can reroll the wands. You can do a lot of damage with these because the standard weapons mean that you are rerolling failed wounds.
You're rerolling failed wound rolls for them anyway.
And if you don't buff them to high heaven like that, run them as the Novok Dynasty.
Yeah.
Reroll failed hits. Weight of dice, you're going to do a lot of damage.
Rerolling failed hits, then also rerolling the failed wounds anyway for the flare claws.
And if a Flare 1 slays any models, the unit subtracts 1 from its leadership, and you can pop them up 9 inches away, so you can deep strike them as well.
Yeah. Deep striking them's probably the way to go for these guys.
Yeah.
With them only having a 5-inch move and no shooty weapons of any kind.
You might as well get them 9 inches.
Yeah, you might as well get them right up there. And to be honest, I can't see any other way of playing them.
Nah. Canoptek Spiders, Stu. Everybody has got 3 of these sat somewhere.
Yeah.
Apart from me and you.
I've got 2.
I've got 1.
I've got 2. I did have 3, and my third one, I don't know where it's gone, but it's just it's dead. It's gone.
Has it not reanimated yet?
Yeah, I think it was a mortal wound that killed it. So.
All right, fair enough.
So yeah,
Canoptek Spiders cannot reanimate unless you use the stratagem.
Yeah.
And they're in a unit of more than 1.
There's no more doing the whole Canoptek harvest anymore.
Well, the kind of is.
There's ways of doing it with stratagems, but...
So, Canoptek Spiders, I always liked the spiders. But 4 wounds, a toughness 6, that is not a lot. This should have had 6 wounds.
Yeah, the wounds are totally... the toughness sounds great. Oh, toughness 6, but then it's 4 wounds.
Oh, my bolt guns are wounding you on 5s.
Yeah, it's just... it's not the best.
It's not enough.
3+ save, however...
It's alright.
It's alright. You know, there could have been a 4 save, and then I just wouldn't have took any of them.
It can take a fabricated claw array, which means that you can repair stuff, okay? So if you stick that at the back behind them Ghost Arks...
Doomsday Arks.
Cool.
Around the back there.
Or you know, even the... what's it called? Triarch Stalker.
Yeah.
It's not bad, but it doesn't do what... If it had more wounds, I'd be inclined to take a little bit more.
I'd probably take 1 and stick it behind one of the aforementioned, and that's it. And
even then, though, there's so many other things I would rather take. I don't feel
if you had the
spiders
points,
have a...
If you had the points spare and you were looking for something and you had this sat on the shelf, I'd just dump it in there, bare minimum.
Or if you want the Canoptek thing down.
Yeah. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't take them.
No. You can, of course, increase the Scarab bases. Just don't roll a 1.
Yeah, you can't create and add more to the bases anymore, though. Like what you used to be able to do. It's basically just repairing each base.
Yeah, you can only go up to the amount that you
paid for.
Yeah. So, of course, we've also got Scarabs.
I like Scarabs. I always have. I tend to run, even if it's just a minimum unit, in my force, basically because they're just annoying.
If you're going for a brigade, this is the way to get your fast attacks in.
Yeah, absolutely. They're dirt cheap.
They've got a lot of attacks. They've got 4 attacks each, hitting on 4s. Granted, you're wounded on 5s against most stuff, 4s against Eldar.
They do, however, have the fly keyword.
Mm-hmm.
Which means annoying things like Eldar jet bikes, stuff like that, you can still assault them. Which you can hold them up.
You can with anything?
With, no, sorry, not
you mean Storm Ravens and stuff. Yeah, that's interesting actually that you can do that.
You can hold things up such as that.
Yeah. And of course you're always wounding on a 5 regardless of the target's toughness. With weight of dice you're going to get enough, you know.
I think one of the best tactics for these is even if you take, let's just say 6, nice and cheap, you're using it to fill out that brigade or battalion even, get them into combat with something like a Predator or a Land Raider.
Use it to
shut things down.
Yeah. That's
pretty much what I do and will continue doing.
They've got a 10-inch move. They're going to get there.
Yeah, the fast... they don't have reanimation protocols, but there is ways of giving them it, but I probably wouldn't waste it on Scarabs. They've got 4 wounds apiece. If you take enough of them, some of them, they're going to get there.
3 wounds.
Yeah.
You said 4.
Did I? Oh well,
Yeah.
I meant 3.
They've got 4 attacks.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't know why I said 4 wounds. Yeah, but I mean 3 wounds apiece, 4 attacks. They're fast. I would use them to shut stuff down.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what they're there for. But their big brothers are vastly
The Wraiths.
improved.
Yeah, they are.
They needed it.
They were really poor.
They've gone up in points.
I can see why.
And I totally agree. So, they can take weapons, particle casters, same as the Praetorians. Got the transdimensional beamer, which is heavy D3. I can't see why I would ever take it.
I don't take any shooter weapons on my Wraiths.
I don't either. You know, toughness 5, 3 wounds apiece, 3 attacks apiece with a 3 up invulnerable save.
That's
Interesting enough, you have to watch out though. They've got a 4 up save,
Yep.
so Grav doesn't do D3 against it.
Yes, because Grav only affects if you have a normal armor save of 3 or better.
Exactly. Wraith form means that you can move over stuff, and if you fall back, you can still charge again.
Yeah,
That's new.
That's new. They've always had Wraith form, but basically because these guys, I think they moved 10 previously before as well. So if I remember rightly, they've had like a 2-inch movement increase. So they're moving 12. So these guys are fast, and pretty much nothing's going to stop them getting to where they need to go.
Which is why I just
Terrain, everything like that, straight through it. Well, you can imagine them phasing through it.
And that's why I've just painted 3 more, Stu.
Yes.
No, they had 12-inch move before.
I'm sure in... I don't know where I've gotten that from.
The main thing that's changed is the Vicious Claws. It's now minus 2 and 2 damage. And the Whip Coils are minus 2 damage as well. And allow you to fight if you're killed.
Yeah. I always run mine standard with just Vicious Claws.
I think everyone used to run Whip Coils in 7 because it basically made your initiative 5.
Yeah, I even in 7th, I never used mine with Whip Coils. I kept them cheap.
I did. I loved them. But the problem is, I think in 7th, 3 just isn't. In 8th, sorry, 3 isn't enough. 6 is better.
6 is better.
It's not 18 though. It's not 18. The only reason I've got 6 though is because of Forgebane. So
yeah, I only have 3, but I will definitely be increasing mine up to at least 6, maybe 9, just to be evil.
But of course there is the stratagem as well now. 2 command points, and you can give these reanimation protocols. And oh look, that Cryptek can now move 10 inches to keep up with them. Yep,
giving them the +1 for the reanimation as well.
Yep. So I think 6. You need at least the 6 to benefit from the reanimation. I would never use 2 command points on a unit of 3.
It's pointless doing it on a unit that big. I mean, 6 minimum.
Yeah.
For Wraith, definitely.
Absolutely. Next up, we've got Tomb Blades. What's worse, Tomb Blades or Ghost Ark?
To build.
Yes.
Ghost Ark. Although Tomb Blades have stupid little fiddly bits on it that are just... You can tell it's a bit of an older sculpt, because now a lot of the new sculpts, they kind of just amalgamate little bits together, and you know, there's little... they're just horrible. Get somebody else to build them for you.
They are, however, vastly improved.
Yeah, I've got 6 at home.
I have 6
they
too.
They are nice.
So the Move 14, so one of the fastest units that Necrons have got access to. The toughness 5, 2 wounds apiece, and a 4 save. So they can take a host of different weapons. Tesla carbines. Can take, is it 1? Yeah, it's 1 Tesla carbine, which is Assault 2. It is 1 Tesla, isn't it? Or is it 2?
No, it used to be 2. 2, sorry, yeah.
2
any model may replace, so it'd be Assault 4, 24-inch range. That's fairly decent, that.
Yeah, and of course, if you were advanced, you can still fire at -1, but you would lose the 6+. But even then, right, move 14 inches.
Ooh.
Oh, look, I'm now only 10 inches away. I have -1 on my weapons.
Yeah, I was just about to say, use these with Mefrit Dynasty.
Do you see what I mean about the Mefrit and Novok?
Yeah.
I think they're going to be the biggest ones.
Mefrit, get them up. I mean, they've got the speed to get within half range easily.
The Gauze Blasters are going to be -3 if you do that. And the Particle Beamer would be -1. Particle Beamers are higher strength, but 3 shots. I think with the speed, they're going to get where they need to be to get within rapid fire range. There is absolutely no reason not to take these ones is Mefrit. The only other one that I can think is do they ignore assault weapons if they advance for the other? I don't think they do. Yeah.
Yes, they do.
I don't think so.
It counts as assault.
But it is an assault weapon anyway. I don't think they get it. And interestingly enough, they're actually now at -1 to hit as well. Nope. It doesn't count. It doesn't ignore. It just turns rapid fire to assault.
Yes, that's right.
So you'd still suffer the -1 with Sortek.
You would, with the gauze, it would count as assault for the gauze.
Yeah, but then you're only getting 2 shots.
On these guys, Tesla's probably the way to go on these guys.
Which is annoying because it's the only weapon I don't have.
Same here, mine's configured.
I've got 3 gauze and 3 particles.
Mine's the same.
The particles were really good because it was a small blast template at strength 6 that you could ignore cover with.
Yeah, you could take taking the was it the
Nebula
yeah, Nebula scope you used to be able to ignore cover.
You still can't take the Nebula scope.
Yep.
But obviously cover's not such a big thing anymore.
They don't get the bonus for it.
Yep. And Shield Looms, model with Shield Loom has 5 up invulnerable save.
Shadow Loom, oh nice. It used to be stealth in 7th for Shadow Loom.
Did it?
Yep. But obviously stealth and shrouded, all that kind of stuff's out the window. Shield Veins is what you want.
3 up save. However, Invasion Engrams.
Ah, yes. This is cool.
It is -1 to hit.
So, yeah.
So they are now Harlequin bikers.
Pretty much.
And of course they've got reanimation.
I was just about to say that. Beat me to it.
Which means that, you know your new Cryptek guy with that cloak? He can keep up with them.
Yep, just remember that Tomb Blades are a little bit quicker than them. But apart from that, you haven't got really nothing to worry about. Still going to be
He's probably going to be advancing behind them anyway. So yeah, Tomb Blades, definitely going to see more of them. So next up, we've got the 2 C'tan shards.
I've always liked C'tan. I like.
I like both of them.
They're both
pretty cool.
Well, 3 if you include the spaghetti monster.
Oh yeah. We'll get to him shortly. So they don't have the Dynasty keyword. They don't get the codes. That's cool.
They don't really need it.
No. They are characters with 8 wounds.
I like this a lot. That the fact that they don't have a damage bracket, they're under that 10 wound margin. So
yeah.
Unless they've got special rules otherwise, they cannot be targeted.
Nope. So the let's have a look at the Deceiver first. He has a 4+ invulnerable. Your opponent must add 1 to morale test for any enemy units within 12. I've seen quite a few of that. I reckon it's possible to leadership bomb with Necrons.
Yeah.
Remember when I did that to you?
Yes.
With me Dark Eldar. I was like,
yeah.
Stu, you're at -7 leadership. I've killed 1 destroyer. Please pass a morale test.
Was that done as a battle report as well?
It was.
On the channel somewhere.
It was, yeah.
In the past.
Yeah, and then I overran you.
Yeah.
Because higher initiative.
evil man.
So yeah, Grand Illusions at the beginning of the first battle round, but before the first turn begins. So this is when you know who is going first.
Yep.
This
is a nice ability.
It is. You can remove the C'tan shard, the Deceiver, and up to D3 other friendly Necron units from the battlefield and set them up again more than 12 away.
Can you command point that? I know you can't command point seize the initiative, but if you were to roll the D3 and you rolled a 1, could you command point it to potentially get 3?
I don't know.
Because that would be nice to set up the Deceiver and another 3 units.
Mm-hmm. It does say if you do so, these units cannot charge.
With Necrons, you're going to pick units that don't really have to charge.
So, what I might do is if I roll that 3, I might just drop 60 warriors within 12 at -2.
Yeah, using that, yeah. Mefrit's certainly going to be one of the most popular ones with all these combos.
And of course, the command barge, no, he does it at the beginning of the movement phase. So you can't get my will be done on them. But you could obviously re-roll the ones with the Stalker.
Yeah, you could. Do that. Do your Grand Illusion. If I can get the word out. Do your Grand Illusion. Then, in your shooting phase, fire your Stalker at what you want your warriors and everything to shoot at. And then you still get that that ability there.
Yep. Powers of the C'tan. He now knows two powers rather than one, but he can only use one.
Yes.
So that's an improvement, obviously being able to choose from 2. There's now 6 to choose from.
Much better than being randomised.
Oh, God, yes!
So annoying being randomised.
I'm going to hit that squad of massive orcs with...
Single shot.
Single shot at strength D. Great, I'm going to shoot that Land Raider. Loads of strength 4 shots.
Oh,
yeah,
so
lovely.
Bad.
They should have split it, so like single high strength shot and then multiple shots and then just roll on either table.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Cover the powers after we've done the other guys.
Yeah, reality unravels. If the C'tan shard of the Deceiver is ever reduced to 0 wounds, he explodes on a 4+, tearing a hole in reality and sucking you in.
I was gonna be really crude there, but I'm not.
And each unit within 3 inches suffers D3 mortal wounds, and he can never have a Warlord trait.
Yeah.
So almost the same as the other guy, who is the
Nightbringer.
Yes. So where's the Nightbringer?
Probably the most common C'tan that you end up seeing on the board at the moment.
Yeah. So I forgot to mention actually, these guys are pretty tough. The strength and toughness 7.
Yeah, but
fair amount of attacks and stuff in combat.
Well.
Yeah. Movement 8, so they do move a little bit faster than your standard Necrons. Now, the C'tan Shard of the Nightbringer, again, has a 4 invulnerable save. He knows 2 powers of the C'tan, but can only use 1. If he's destroyed on a 4+, he explodes, and he can never have a Warlord trait, and doesn't benefit from the dynastic codes. Yeah. So that is the Nightbringer as a whole.
Pretty much majority of his abilities are almost the same, apart from that that ability to reposition your guys. That's the Deceiver's ability.
However, he is much better in combat.
Yes, he is.
He has Gaze of Death, which is a shooting attack. It's Assault D6, -4 and D3 damage each. The weapon wounds on a 2+, unless it's targeting a vehicle, in which case it's a 6. That means you're wounding on 2. You're hitting on 2s, wounding on 2s, -4 for D3 damage.
Yeah, it's good. It's the D3 that gets us. Because
if it was Assault 6 D3 damage,
yeah.
or if it was Assault D6 2 damage, it's a little bit too random. But nevertheless, it's still pretty good.
You're still going to dish out a fair bit of damage because he's got the Assault D6. It's just I'd have preferred, even if it was Assault 3,
yeah,
D3 damage, because you know you're getting them 3 hits with the two ballistic skill. It's highly likely. With good dice rolling, you're probably going to be doing all right, to be fair, because you're needing 2s to hit, unless you're Harry.
He's also got Scythe the Nightbringer, which is his melee weapon. He's strength 7, he's -4, he's D6 damage, automatically wounding on a 2, unless it's a vehicle, in which case he counts as strength 7. Now, I'm sure he's lost something.
For the Nightbringer?
No, he hasn't.
No.
I thought he had a death stare thing, but yeah.
That's the Gaze of Death.
But where are they at? Here they are.
The powers.
The powers. So, can you choose them? Before the battle, generate powers in the C'tan unit using the table below. Roll a d6 to generate the powers randomly. Before the battle, you can instead choose the powers. But if you do this, you cannot choose a power for the second time until all 6 have been chosen.
Yeah. So, very similar to psychic powers. But although you can choose multiple powers, it's much better to have different ones so that you're not, especially if you're playing match play, so that you're not replicating.
So, Antimatter Meteor, roll a d6 on a 2+. The closest visible enemy unit within 24 suffers d3 mortal wounds. On a 6, it suffers d6. If the C'tan shard using the power is in the Tesseract vault, it's a 5 instead.
It's actually a better smite.
Yeah.
It's, smite's 5 to get it off.
It's basically smite without being a Saiga.
Yeah, but you're only needing 2s for it to pull off.
We've got Times Arrow. Pick a visible enemy unit within 18. Roll a d6. Add 1 to the result if the shard is using the Tesseract Vault. If the result exceeds the highest wound characteristic in the unit, one model from that unit chosen by the controlling player is slain. An unmodified roll of 1 will always fail. Oh, hello, custodians.
Yep. I can see that being very, very handy.
Yeah.
Situational, but very handy.
Yeah. Very elite killer.
Yeah.
Skyfall and Stars pick up to 3 different enemy units that are within 18 of the C'tan Shard. Roll a d6 for each, subtracting 1 from the result if he's using a Tesseract Vault. If the result is less than the number of models in that unit, the unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. That's really good. So
Yeah,
that's
your horde killer.
That's 3 smites.
Yeah.
Bang, bang, bang on them 3 units of 10.
That's your horde killer, especially things like Tyranids or even Tau.
But
big good lines.
An unmodified roll of a 6 always fails.
Yeah.
So it's not auto if it's a unit of 10. Cosmic Fire. Roll a d6 for each enemy unit within 9 of the C'tan. Add 1 if you're using the Vault. Oh, the Vault is massive. On a 4+, the unit being rolled for suffers d3 mortal wounds.
That's really good with the
is
Vault.
horrible. So that's a 3+, you're doing d3 mortal wounds for everything within 9. Bearing in mind the footprint of the Vault.
Can you deep strike the Vault?
I don't know. I've never used it.
Because, well, neither have I.
But
I don't own
even
one.
then, get there on the Nightbringer.
Yeah.
Get him stuck
Get
in
him
there.
up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good.
Seismic Assault. Pick a visible enemy within 24. Roll a d6. Add 1 if you're using the Vault. For each roll of a 6, the unit suffers a mortal wound. For each model in the unit.
Yeah, but it's for each model in the unit, so you want to choose large units for that.
That 30
that's
strong squad of Orc boys. And then we've got Transdimensional Thunderbolt. Pick a visible enemy unit within 24. You can only pick a character if it has 10 or more wounds, unless it's the closest. Add 1 if it's using the Vault. On the 4+, the unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. Then roll a d6 for every other enemy unit that is within 3 of the chosen enemy unit. On a 4+, the unit being rolled for suffers a single mortal wound. So it's a slightly different version of Antimatter
Meteor is probably better.
Okay, so next up we've got the Monolith.
Classic.
I wish it had come down in points a little, or give it a 5 up invulnerable.
Yeah, it is iconic to see them on the board.
You're not going to see them,
don't
though.
think you're going to see them.
Nah.
The points is just too much for these guys.
They're not survivable enough. They don't have quantum shielding. And if giving them a 5 up invulnerable save, even a 5 up would benefit them so much.
Even if it was I've always said that even if they gave the ability to upgrade it, to give it quantum shielding for a points cost, even that would make it a little bit more viable. I've used monoliths in the past and I've loved them, but in this, I just don't want to see them getting used at far too many points.
So the toughness 8, 20 wounds, 3 up armor. They look survivable. However, they do have living metal, which means you're getting wounds back. They've got a fair amount of firepower. They've got 4 Gauss Flux Arks, which is heavy 3, strength 5, -2, 1 damage. Having their at -3 is not bad.
Yeah, that is good. You can deep strike these as well.
Or indeed ignoring the heavy.
Yep.
I don't think it does that anyway.
It does ignore heavy.
Fair enough. And then you've got Particle Whip, heavy 6, strength 8, -2, d3 damage. Again, why would you not take Meth for it?
Yeah, you would totally take Meth for that.
So we've got Death Descending. During deployment, you can basically set it up off the battlefield. And then it can plummet to the battlefield, set it up anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 12 inches away from an enemy model. Why is it 12?
Yeah, it's the thing with that as well, though, is if you are planning on using it with Methra, if you want to go for that kind of alpha strike, you're not going to get it on your first turn because you have to be over 12 inches.
Yeah, and you're not within 12.
And you're not going to be within 12 to get that ability. So it's a bit of a daft rule, that, but it's a bit of a shame.
Portal of Exile. When an enemy unit other than a monster or vehicle finishes a charge move within 1 inch, its Portal of Exile may activate. Roll a d6 and compare it to the damage chart above. If the roll is successful, the charging unit suffers d6 mortal wounds.
That's nice.
However, it's only on a 4+, then a 5+, then a 6+. It should just be a 4+.
Yeah, it's as soon as you go down to 10 wounds, 5 up to get it. It's nice if you do get it off, But no, it's just not really doing it for us.
It's got hovering, so it's got fly, it's got floating fortress, it can move and fire its heavy weapons without suffering the penalty. It explodes on a 6, doing D6 mortal wounds within 6 inches, so a much bigger explosion. But then it's got the Eternity Gate. When you set up this model, at the same time you can also set up a number of friendly Dynasty infantry units on the Tomb World rather than setting them up on the battlefield. Before this model moves in your movement phase, a single friendly Dynasty unit can be set up on the Tomb World, can be transported onto the battlefield by the Monolith. Set up the unit so it's wholly within 3 of the model and more than an inch away from enemy models. If all Dynasty Night Sights and Monoliths from your army are destroyed, all friendly Dynasty units still in their Tomb World are considered to be slain. So you have to then wait a turn to then bring something on.
Especially if you're deep striking it, yeah.
You can do a turn 1 if you deploy it, but if you deep strike it, you then can't have something
there's
come out
no
of your turn.
point doing it on turn 1, because if you're not deep striking it, you're going to be in your deployment zone. I mean, especially if you're playing like Hammer and Anvil, you're going to be far away from your opponent anyway, so there's just going to be no point doing it at the beginning. You might as well just have them out on foot and advance them. Especially if you're using Imotekh Dynasty, then you'd be able to get the ability to... They're such an iconic unit, it's just such a shame that they just don't do it for the points cost. There's so many things you could fit in your army for the same price as it.
Yeah. On the subject of heavy, let's go for destroyers. Now, we didn't cover the Destroyer Lord with HQs earlier, but I did say he was one of the fastest HQs. He moves 10. He's toughness 6 for 6 wounds, and of course that Warlord trait or artifact that made him toughness 7 would be brutal. Or of course giving him the Void Scythe, Void Reaper, because he's got 4 attacks. He does only hit on 3s though. But he has hardwired hatred. You can re-roll hit rolls of a 1 for this model. Great. Of course, he's got 6 wounds, like I said. He can take Phylactery to have regain D3 wounds. He can take a phase shifter for 4+ invulnerable. But he also has Unity in Hatred. You can re-roll wound rolls of a 1 in the shooting phase for this model and models from the Dynasty Destroyer and Dynasty Heavy Destroyer units within 6.
That is amazing. That's really, really good. You want to stick this guy in amongst all of your destroyers and your heavy destroyers to get the best of that ability. And
if someone goes to charge it, oh look, I've got a Destroyer Lord with a Void Reaper.
Yeah, especially if he's within range to Heroic Intervention.
Yeah.
You'll absolutely tear most things to pieces. Obviously, dedicated close combat units, things like Blood Angels, characters, stuff like that, you'll have a bit of a problem with them, but most units that are going to go for him are going to have a problem.
You still, with the Void Reaper, you're still going to have a fair chance of pulling apart more Space Marine characters. You can, of course, also take a Resurrection Orb, so a very solid, very tough HQ choice. Normal destroyers, though, got insanely better, Stu.
Yes, did they? So the main weapon, I mean, the 10-inch move, so obviously, as we mentioned, with the Cryptek with the Canoptek Cloak, you can keep up with these guys. I mean, their Gauze Cannon increased in AP. If I remember rightly, in the index it was AP -2.
Yeah.
It's now Strength 6, AP -3, and D3 damage.
It was Strength 5 before.
So Strength has gone up.
And it was also Heavy 2.
Yeah. So it's Heavy 3 now I mean, I love Destroyers. I do only have 4. 3 now, because I cannibalised one of them and turned him into the Destroyer Lord. But I will most certainly be getting more of these guys. I didn't like the sculpt on them, but they've grown on us now. Yes, with the D3, I've mentioned quite a lot in this that I don't like the randomisation, but with Heavy 3, you're getting a lot of a big enough unit.
Can I just point out a couple of things as well? So the Toughness 5, right, with 3 wounds each. Reasonably survivable.
Yeah.
Got 3 up save as well. Right?
Yeah. Reanimation protocols with
Reanimation protocols. I would absolutely stick these in a unit of 6.
Yeah.
Right? But not only are you re-rolling hit rolls of a 1 and re-rolling wound rolls of a 1 because of the Destroyer Lord, what other keywords do they have, Stu?
Dynasty.
Nope. What other keywords do they have?
Infantry.
Yes, which means you can use My Will Be Done on them.
You can.
And you can stick them in cover.
Oh, if you were running Imotekh Dynasty and you had a very destroyer / heavy destroyer list heavy force, let's just say you got 2 big blobs of them. Imotekh, with his ability for My Will Be Done twice, cast it on one unit, cast it on the other unit.
Yeah.
I'm saying cast, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. And of course, if you run a Methrit, I mean, they wouldn't be great in the Imotekh Dynasty because they ignore heavy weapons anyway. But imagine that at -4 AP.
Yeah. They can move 10 anyway, so you can get them up fast enough to be able to get the ability.
And they're ignoring it.
Yeah.
So, fantastic stuff.
So as you're moving up, you're firing...
With fly.
With fly, you're firing your strength 6 guns, AP -3. As soon as you get in within that 12-inch for your normal Gauss cannons, then your Methrit code kicks in.
Yeah.
And it's almost a las cannon.
Right. Now, we've got heavy destroyers. I still like them, but I don't think I like them as much. The strength 9, -4, d6 damage, range 36. Fair, right? But why would you not take a normal destroyer now?
Yeah, heavy 3.
You could do 1 damage, or you could miss. Do you know what I mean?
I want to like them. I mean, I don't own any heavy destroyers because I hate the sculpt, but I'm going to convert some. But I'd maybe stick, if I was looking at points and there was just something random, maybe it's 1 or 2. Maybe it's 1 at the most.
Oh, I wouldn't even take them now. I would just run
definitely
normal
run
destroyers.
normal destroyers over them.
Yeah. So, destroyers, I think you're going to see a lot of destroyers coming up as well. Okay, so next up we've got 3 Annihilation Barges and a Doomsday Ark. I love Annihilation Barges.
Yes, which is why I have 2, which I've just finished painting.
I have 3. One of them, of course...
One of them's your magnetised one, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. But this is the one that I got confused with earlier. Take a Tesla Destructor, take a Tesla Cannon, right?
Yeah.
You've got 8 shots at strength 7, -1 if you're within 12.
You're going to hear that a lot, aren't you?
And of course...
with the Tesla roll.
It's Tesla. And then you've got the Tesla Cannon, which is Assault 3.
Yep. So Assault 3 with that, Assault 8.
Yep.
You're going to get some 6s. You're going to be... it's going to be you, really, if you don't get any 6s.
You should get 2 6s out of 11 rolls.
You should do, but if you're playing, you won't.
Yeah. So, do you know what, right? Absolutely. If there's something big or a massive squad that you're going after, if you're going after Orc boys, right, shoot them with the Stalker. Then pour 3 Annihilation Barges into them.
Yeah.
Annihilation Barges are super survivable. They've only got a 4 save, right? But 8 wounds, a toughness 6, it's not bad.
Don't have the bracket with them being 8 as well.
Don't degrade.
So don't degrade.
And they've got
quantum shielding.
3, it's like what you said, take 3 of them, take 2 Doomsday Arks, have a couple of spiders repairing them, right?
Yep.
Oh my god, what do I target? I don't know. I can't destroy anything.
I tend to find, I mean, I haven't used mine yet because they're the most recent vehicles to add to my Dynasty, and I can't wait to get them out. But I see them being better used in groups of at least 2. Mm-hmm. Don't take them out on their own. Don't have them like right next to each other. You know,
one will get targeted and will get shot down. Keep
them in squads of 2 or 3, and keep them a fair distance apart. You know, so they can do separate things, go for objectives close by. But so if you need to, big massive blob squad that you just have to take out, these guys will just rip them to pieces with the amount of firepower that they can dish out.
Yep.
They do explode, however.
And do you know which Dynasty I may consider taking these with, actually?
The Annihilation Barges.
Yeah. The one where you reroll ones if you stay still.
Yeah, that could be quite handy, actually.
Rather than the AP, because then you get the free rerolls. And I would absolutely take the Doomsday Ark with that one.
Yes.
Because, realistically, do you really need -6 AP?
No. Not on this guy at all. He's minus...
Unless you've got a Land Raider in cover.
If you've got you're playing a Land Raider wrong if it's in cover, though, to be fair.
But if it's a combat Land Raider with dozer blades and spikes...
I still think it's wrong. A Land Raider's a big, massive, moving fortress. You're being a bit of a softie if you...
Okay.
Keep it behind cover. No, rush it forward, drive us closer so I can hit him with my sword.
So Doomsday Ark is, in essence, exactly the same as a Ghost Ark, apart from it doesn't have transport.
It's still a nightmare to build.
It's, yeah, which is why I've only got the one. It doesn't repair warriors. It does have quantum shielding, it does have living metal, it does have explosive. It's worth pointing out as well, the Annihilation badges have living metal.
Yes, they do. Most of the Necron vehicles have living metal anyway.
Which is really, really handy. So you're getting D3, well, one.
You're getting at least one.
Plus D3 if you take a couple of spiders. That is a list where I would take the spiders.
Yeah, if I was running heavy, like Doomsday Ark or 2, and Annihilation badges, definitely
and
stick.
Stalkers.
Yeah, definitely stick some spiders in there.
That main gun is horrendous.
The Doomsday Cannon. With a name like Doomsday Cannon, you want it to be good, and it is.
However, I've only used it once in 8th, and I could not kill my own Land Raider.
Did you have it behind cover?
No. It was Phil using it, actually, and I couldn't kill it. I think it used to be because it was heavy 1-shot, where now it's heavy D6.
Yeah.
That's the issue that I had with it before. Strength 10, you're going to be wounding most stuff on 3s.
This is on the high powered, which is what you want them to be using.
You can only use this if you remain stationary. So it's not...
There's no way around it either.
No, because of the way the wording is in the rule. Even if you run the Dynasty that ignores heavy, the special rule for the weapon is you can only fire it if you remain stationary. So you absolutely want to take the reroll once to hit Dynasty on that.
You want this to hit. Because it's ballistic skill 3 on its full wounds anyway, which is fairly decent. Triarch starter, again.
Do you know what I would do, right? I would take a normal Lord, right? 3 Annihilation badges and a Doomsday Ark, reroll once to hit, and the Lord lets you reroll wounds of a 1.
Using the Dynasty code.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only problem... it doesn't really have a great deal of problems, to be honest, but the only problem I can really see with this is a lot of terrain blocking that line of sight, because it's a 72-inch range, which is amazing for Necrons. If you've got a lot of cover and you don't have a great deal of targets, you're either going to have to wait for the enemy to come to you, which you don't really want, or you're going to have to move it. I mean, the low-powered guns, it's alright. You know, it's strength 8, -2, but it's only D3 damage. It's okay, but you want as much ability to get that high power out.
Yeah, absolutely. So, shall we move swiftly on?
Swiftly? Certainly. So, the Doom and Night Scythe.
Yep. Now, my Night Scythe is just slightly out of range there. I'm really sorry.
They look pretty much the same.
I think Josh, you remember Josh?
Oh, yeah.
A long time ago.
Has he been sucked into a Tesseract vault?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Along with Creed!
He needs to reanimate.
Yeah. Maybe he's just asleep and he's waiting for the new Codex to come out, and that's when he'll awaken.
I wouldn't be surprised. So, Doom Scythes.
I want to like these so much.
Josh used to run 4 Doom and Night Scythes.
I can imagine him doing that.
Can you remember that formation in 7th where you got like an extra AP and an extra strength? And
yeah, it was
yeah.
Cool. I want to like them more than what I should. I do like them. They do suffer obviously from the damage bracket, but the problem that I've got is that it goes from like 3 straight, 3, 4, 5.
The death rate is heavy. You move, you're -1.
You're -1 straight away as soon as you move, which you have to move with a flyer.
Yeah, because these guys can't go into hover mode. The death rate is great. Strength 10, -4, and decent damage.
Yeah.
D3 shots. It's only range 24. It's a mini version of the Doomsday Ark. The fact that you are at -1 to hit as soon as you move, I don't like. It's got 3 up armor, which is better than most of the other vehicles, I think.
Yeah.
And 12 wounds, a toughness 6. You've got -1 to hit because hard to hit. It's airborne, so it can only be charged by flyers. And of course supersonic, so you're limited by the movement of flyers.
These do have the Dynasty keyword as well, though, so they can benefit from some of the rules, but they're going to be pretty far away.
In that case, that one, you're probably better off taking the ignore heavy weapon ones.
Yeah.
Because realistically, do you want a -5 death rate?
There's no point hitting on 4s. Yeah, there's 50-50 chance. but it's much better having being able to.
I would take a flyer wing if I'm going to take them. I would take a flyer wing with three,
multiple ones, yeah,
and run the one where you ignore heavy.
Yeah,
that's what I would do.
They do. I mean, it's not just the death ray that the Doom Scythe, of course, comes with it. You know, it comes with the Tesla destructors. So Assault 4. What's not to love about Tesla?
It's got 2 Tesla destructors, so it's 8 shots.
8 shots.
However, if you're going to be paying for that, it's only got 1 extra gun over the Night Scythe.
I prefer Night Scythes.
I prefer Night Scythes.
I've got 2 in my army. And they've always done really well for us.
I've got 1 Doom Scythe, which I can pull the death ray off.
Yeah.
And then the other one is fixed as a Night Scythe. Because you'll see in the Dark Artisan tutorial next week what I did with the other death ray.
Okay. Intriguing.
Yeah, it's got a metal. Everything is the same. It just doesn't have the death ray, but it has invasion beams. Now, do you want to talk through this?
Yes, invasion beams. They've pretty much been there for quite some time. So when you set it up, at the same time, you can also set up a number of friendly Dynasty infantry units in the Tomb World. Very similar to the Monolith rule. A lot cheaper to do it though. Before it moves before it moves in your moving phase, because these guys, they don't come on from reserve, they're there straight away. You can basically just pop them down wholly within 3 inches of the model and more than an inch away from enemy models.
Within 12?
Yep, within 12. But it is before the move, not after. So just be careful with your placement. But these guys on full, let's say on the full wounds, they can move up to 60. So you can get them to where they need to. They're pretty resilient. 12 wounds, 3 up save. The -1 to hit as well. Then it would take a lot of firepower to bring one down for you to not to be able to drop your units the next turn.
Remember them War Scythe Lychguard I talked about?
Yes.
That every time.
Or even, like say, I'm going to say it again, Method Dynasty. Drop a blob of warriors down within half range.
Yeah.
20 warriors.
20 flayed ones.
Ooh. Yes, that's a nice way of doing it. But, I mean, they can deep strike anyway, but that's...
You get them within an inch away.
Yeah, within an inch away. You're not going to really feel that charge.
You can't.
Yeah.
So, I do like the flyers. Now, we've got something really, really cool to look at, Stu.
Yes.
So, next up, we have Arse Tickler.
The Arse Tickler. The Canoptek Tombstalker.
Yep, I love this model.
Yeah, it is.
It's class.
Both variations that you can get from Forge World look really cool. He's pretty quick for obviously standard Canoptek movement, move 10. He's got toughness 7 as well, which I thought was really cool. Strength 6. He's got 9 wounds.
Yep, and a 3 up save.
Falls underneath the bracket as well, so he doesn't degrade. 3 up save. He does have the twin gore slices, which rapid fire D3, 24-inch range.
He has 2 gore slices.
Yeah, 2 of them, yeah.
So you could get 6 shots.
Oh, they've called it twin, but it's obviously 2. Combat-wise, so it's pretty decent in combat.
If it's rapid fire D3, would you get 2 D3 to rapid fire with, or would you roll the D3 and then double that?
I would imagine that it'd be... I would imagine it'd be 2 D3 rolls.
So technically that'd be 4 D3 rolls.
Yeah. Not too sure with that one.
Oh look, he pops up 9 inches away.
Yeah. This guy...
Oh, I'm in America!
He does have the Dynasty keyword, so he can benefit from things like Mephrit and everything else. He's Monster, Tombstalker. Abilities this guy's got, just for his combat as well, he's got the Automaton Claws.
Yep.
Strength of the user, so he's strength 6, -2 AP. D3 damage again. So he's -2. I don't really think he's designed for combat, really. He can hold his own. Couple of special rules this guy has, though, which does make him unique and really cool. So he's got the Gloom Prism. He can attempt to deny a 1-sided power.
Yeah.
Handy to have with him having a 10-inch movement. He's going to get in range to be able to deny. He's got Living Metal. And his special rule that this guy has, Phase Tunneling, which is quite cool for these guys. Makes them very fluffy. So during deployment, you can set this unit up underground instead of placing it on the battlefield. At the end of any moving phase, he can basically emerge from the ground, similar to like what Tyranids do for the Trigons and as such. So you can get him in nice and close and cause a ruckus.
Do you know how he's a Canoptek unit?
Yes.
Phil was using him in a game against me Tau, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to use that 2 command point stratagem on him where you can reanimate."
Yep, give him reanimation protocols. Horrible.
Stu,
with a 9 wound model.
Stu, how many models are in the unit?
Just the one.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yes, the stratagems. Yes, the stratagems got to be on multiple models, hasn't it?
Can't believe you fell for that,
I did,
man. Yes. Anyway,
I don't dabble in Necron Forge World very much.
It's not Forge World, it's the fact it's one model.
It is Forge World.
Well, yes, but it's not the fact that it's... Yeah. Let's move on to the final units. Right, so... Almost last, we've got the Obelisk / Tesseract Vault / Transcendent C'tan, which I had to do a really awkward conversion with because I got the second hand and it didn't have all the parts.
Looks really cool though, and very unique.
Thank you. So the C'tan is magnetized on top, so I can run it as the Obelisk. The Vault, even though it's technically closed, and of course the C'tan comes off and goes on his own separate base.
Yeah.
So the Obelisk, again, I wish it had come down in points.
Yeah, in bigger games, fair dues, but standard 2,000 point game, it's really good, but you can just fit more in for the points cost that this is.
I played a ridiculous game with Phil and took that and the Monolith.
You horrible person.
Mate, he had all Terminators.
Oh well, fair dues. Take them Terminators out.
And bearing in mind the Tesla didn't have any AP then.
Yes, now. It can. Potentially.
Yes. So it does benefit from the Dynasty keyword. It's 24 wounds of toughness 8. So it's only actually got 4 more wounds than Monolith.
Yeah.
And a 3-up save. Doesn't have an invuln.
You can't. It doesn't have the invuln rule that it had before. It used to be able to have like powered up and powered down.
Yeah.
If
it had that, would be cool.
It was handy in 7th, not so much of a problem, but it would have been handy to have it.
Now, the other issue with this is, if you take a super heavy auxiliary detachment in Necrons, that detachment does not benefit from the Dynasty rules. So the only way to get this in and get it to benefit is by a Supreme Command detachment.
Yeah, because you'd have to have your 3 HQ and then one of these guys.
And then that, which is very costly.
It can be very expensive. I mean, I suppose there's cheapish ways to do it, but
3 Crypteks.
Yeah, I mean, Crypteks are handy, but if you're going to take a Supreme Command detachment, you want to take it for more than just the Obelisk.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You want it for the buff?
I would never take it for the Obelisk. You're not going to see Obelisks, unfortunately.
Only in Apocalypse.
Yeah. If it explodes, it goes mega. It does D6 mortal wounds in 2D6. It's got 4 Tesla spheres, which are Salt 5 each, Strength 7, and of course Tesla roll.
Yeah, so 20
It's
Tesla.
such a cool model. That's it.
Yeah. The firepower it can dish out is good. It's only going to be seen in very big games and, Apocalypse, and that's about it.
Okay. I'm now going to move on to the Tesseract Vault. Now, this did get improved vastly.
Yes, it did.
Still very, very expensive. So it's, of course, got 28 wounds. So 4 more for the fact that it's actually got the C'tan in there. It's still got the 4 Tesla spheres. But the powers of the C'tan, the model knows 4 powers of the C'tan, and it can use a number of different powers equal to the number in the damage table shown above. So it's 3, 2, then 1. And of course, we read out all the rules earlier. It's going to get a hell of a lot more powerful. It does have a temporal force field. This model has a 4-pin vulnerable save.
That is really good for this.
Yes.
Really good. The Obelisk should have had something like that.
Even a 5-up, like I said. I think the Monolith and the Obelisk should have a 5-up.
Yeah.
It does have Vengeance of the Unchained. If this model is reduced to 0 wounds, it explodes on a 4+, doing d6 mortal wounds within 2d6 inches.
Yeah, it useful if it does eventually die. It has a lot of wounds to puncture through.
And it flies.
It does fly, has the fly keyword. It's got the Titanic one as well, so it doesn't... Not that it's got any heavy weapons or anything like that, but if it did, it's kind of pointless putting that keyword in there, to be fair.
Both of them do degrade, so you lose 2 inches of movement and a ballistic skill for each time. Thankfully, though, the Vault does hold some of its abilities because you don't have to roll a hit with the powers.
Yeah, which is handy.
Even though you're using less powers. So it is very, very handy. Which brings us on to the actual C'tan itself.
Flying spaghetti monster.
Yeah.
Either that or...
what's that thing about flying inflatable whaling tube man?
Off Family Guy.
Yeah.
What I've seen these guys painted, and if I was to get one, either on its own off eBay or by buying the Tesseract Vault, is I've seen one done painted up like Carnage from Spider-Man.
Oh,
and it looks amazing, and it's exactly how I would paint mine.
For the Method Dynasty?
No, I would just paint it just like that as anything.
Alright, cool. I did mine glowy blue-white.
Yeah, but the thing with the C'tans is that obviously the gods that just look like anything. I suppose you could paint one like Venom as well, but I think Carnage would look really cool because he's like black and red and wiggly and wobbly and cool. Anyway.
Transcendent C'tan. So, movement 8, 2, 2, 7, 7, 8 wounds, 4 attacks, and of course he is a character.
Yes.
Doesn't benefit from the dynastic keywords, but with all of these rules that he's got, don't think he needs it. I would run this guy by himself.
Yeah.
So, how do you put Necrodermis, 4 invulnerable save, powers of the C'tan. He only knows 2. And he can only use 1 in each of his phases. I thought he would have gotten 3 and cast 2, but
yeah,
he's still cool. He explodes on a 4+, but he does D3 mortal wounds within 3 inches. He can't have a Warlord trait. This is the best rule, though.
Fractured personality.
Yes. Before the battle, you can pick one of the abilities opposite and apply this to the model for the duration of the battle. Alternatively, you can roll 2d6 to randomly determine 2 abilities and apply them both for the duration of the battle. However, duplicate results have no effect. So if you do roll a double, tough.
Could you... Same again.
Command point it.
Yeah, could you command point it to get a different roll?
I don't know. Cosmic Tyrant. On the roll of a 1, the model can use 2 different powers of the C'tan at the end of your movement phase.
Handy.
Yep. Number 2, add 1 to saving throws.
Yeah.
3 up in one. Yep. Number 3, this model regains D3 wounds lost at the start of your turn. Keeps him alive, but 8 wounds and a character, unless you get him into combat, he's probably not going to take that much damage. So far, that's the least great one, but it's still really good. When this model advances, add 12 to its move characteristic for the phase instead of rolling dice. So the fact it can move 20 inches and then still use its powers.
That's really good.
Yep.
The next one, however, I like a lot.
You can reroll failed wounds for this model in the fight phase.
I like that for this guy. Yes, he's not armed with any particular weapons, but
he's still horrible.
He's horrible in combat.
Yeah.
And when he blows up,
4 attacks, strength 7, -4, d6 damage. So you're probably wounded on 3s, rerolling if you get that one. And then the last one is Writhing Worldscape. Enemy units do not receive a bonus to their saving throws for being in cover whilst they are within 12 of this model. That's
handy. It's not the greatest, but if used in conjunction with other units, it could be really cool. You stick him close enough with maybe another unit just in front to protect him with the character keyword. And it basically everything else, that's within 12 inches doesn't get the cover.
Mm-hmm.
Them Doomsday Arks we were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Bang. Oh, you're in cover? No, you're not.
That Land Raider in cover there I was talking about.
Yeah, that soft little wimpy Land Raider that's hiding behind a bush.
So we are done with the units.
On stratagems.
Couple of the stratagems. So if you've stayed with us this long, thank you very much indeed. You must.
With the Necrons, there's a lot to go through, especially with the amount of HQ that they've got.
There's a hell of a lot, yeah. I mean, a lot of the named characters and stuff to go through. I suspect this video is probably over 2 hours long at this point. I'll message you later and tell you.
Yeah. So yeah, pretty much stratagems to cover.
Yep, so enhanced reanimation protocols. Use this stratagem before making reanimation protocols. You can re-roll reanimation protocols over 1 for that unit this turn. 2 command points.
If you've got the points to spend,
it's
all right. If not, then...
I think the problem I have with Necrons is I don't think you're going to have more than 7 command points.
Yeah, it'd be difficult to get more.
I tried to build a list with 8 and I struggled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's handy.
Yep. Wrath of the C'tan, 2 command points. Use this stratagem after a C'tan shard from your army has resolved the power. Roll a d6 to randomly select a power from the C'tan. The shard can immediately use the power that is rolled, even if it's already used it. It's 2 command points. I would not spend 2 command points to do that.
Because it's random as well. You could get.
You're going back to 7.
Yeah, you're going back to 7. Don't like it.
Dynastic heirlooms, 1 command point to take an extra artifact. I would probably do that.
Yeah.
There was a couple of really cool.
Yeah, the artifacts are really cool.
Enhanced invasion beam. You'll understand this a bit more than me because I read it and I was like...
Yeah, so it's 1 command point. You use a stratagem before you set up a unit from a tomb world using the invasion beam's ability of a Night Scythe, or the Eternity Gate from the Monolith. Instead, you can set up 2 units from a tomb world instead of 1. So, if you've got one Night Scythe in your force, for example, or you've just got 1 Monolith, instead of just doing the 1, you could do 2. It's handy if you're only restricted to that, but if you're using, if you've got 2 Night Scythes and a Monolith, you don't really need to spend. It is only 1 command point.
The problem that you've got with this, right? I would absolutely do this with 10 War Scythe Lychguard and a massive unit of. I've just made a flappy thing. I can't remember the name.
Scarabs.
Flayed ones.
Oh, flayed ones. Yeah.
For 1 command point. The problem I've got is you've got to get your Night Scythe there. It's then not going to get shot down. It's 100 and odd points that you've invested in. If your Night Scythe gets shot down, you've then lost your Immortals.
There's better ways to get everybody there.
There is. We've got Solar Pulse. Use this stratagem after Necron unit from your army has declared its target in the shooting phase, but before any hit rolls are made. Pick one of the enemy units that your unit is targeting, and the enemy does not receive the benefit of cover.
I like that. You couple that in with a Triarch Stalker and a big blob of warriors. You re-rolling your hits, and also they're not receiving any benefit. I think it's really cool. Nice one. It's only 1 command point as well.
Yep. Emergency Invasion Beam. Use this stratagem when the last Dynasty, Night Scythe and or Monolith from your army is destroyed. Before removing the model from the battlefield, you can immediately set up friendly Dynasty units still in their tomb world wholly within 3. That is kind of handy because if you run a Night Scythe on a suicide mission,
if it does handy, get shot otherwise down, you lose the units inside.
But then that brings the question: can you then use Emergency Invasion Beam with Enhanced Invasion Beam? Because it says use this stratagem before you set a unit up using the Invasion Beam's ability.
Yeah.
But you're not using the ability, you're using the stratagem.
Yeah, using the stratagem,
no. Okay.
It's alright for 1 command point.
Resurrection Protocols. Use this stratagem when a Necron character from your army, excluding Trazyn or a C'tan, is slain. Roll a d6 on a 4+, the character is set up again as close as possible, with 1 wound remaining. It's alright if you want to try and deny Slay the Warlord on like turn 5.
Yeah, I'd probably put it in, if you've got like your best stratagems all lined up of the ones that you want to use, I'd probably stick it in there somewhere, but I wouldn't count on it.
Yep. Amalgamated targeting data. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase if a Dynasty Doom Scythe from your army is within 6 inches of 2 other friendly Dynasty Doom Scythes. That is nigh on impossible to get with flyers now. The Doom Scythes cannot fire their death rays this phase. Instead, select a point on the battlefield within 24 of all 3 of the vehicles that is visible to all of them. Roll a d6 for each unit within 3 inches of that point and add 1 to the result if the unit being rolled for has 5 or more models, but subtract 1 if it is a character. On a 4+, the unit suffers 3d3 mortal wounds.
It is nice, it sounds nice, but I think it's going to be tricky to pull it off.
It's 1 command point, but getting 3 Doom Scythes that close to each other
It sounds really good. The last sentence sounds amazing. I think it's just
It's also
you're gonna forget
on a 4+.
Yeah, you could do all of that hard work to get all 3 of them within range
And do 3 mortal wounds.
Either that, or you could just roll 3.
Yeah.
And you know it's a tricky one. What have you got next? Damage control override.
Yeah.
Use this stratagem at the start of any turn. Pick a Necron's vehicle. Notice it doesn't have any Dynasty there. Vehicle. From your army until the end of this turn, use the top row of that vehicle's damage table, regardless of how many wounds it has left.
Doomsday Ark.
Yes, that is really good. And obviously, it ends if this ends immediately if the model is reduced to 0 wounds. But you've got a Doomsday Ark on 1 wound. Pull that off.
Use it.
1 command point.
It's the same as the Knight and the Stim Injectors for Tau.
For Tau, yeah. Use it. 1 command point to do it.
Lucy did that on a Supremacy armor.
Brutal.
Yep. Repair subroutines. Canoptek units gain reanimation protocols. 6 Wraith.
It's 2 command points to do it. If you're running a lot of Wraith and Canoptek units in it, absolutely save 2 points because you're going to want them at some point.
Yeah. Dispersion field amplification. Use this stratagem in the shooting phase when an enemy unit targets a unit of Lychguard from your army equipped with dispersion shields. Your invuln increases to 3, and each time you roll an unmodified 6 for this unit's invulnerable saving throw, the unit that made the attack suffers a mortal wound. It's basically repulsive grid from
from the old Codex.
Castellans.
Wait, they used to have it years ago.
Did they?
In 5th, they could basically bounce.
Stu.
I know.
I've played 7th, and I've played 2nd.
Nah. It's 2 command
cool.
points to do it. It sounds cool, but the problem that you're going to have here is that it's for each unmodified roll of a 6. Now, to get the benefit of that, you're going to at least want a unit of 10 Lychguard. Now, if I had a unit of 10...
Is your opponent going to shoot at you again once you've done it?
Yeah, exactly. If I had a unit of 10 Lychguard, I'd have them with war scythes. I wouldn't have them with the sword and board.
I can't see me using that.
No. 2 command points to do it. It's alright. It's not the worst, but I'd save them for things like repair subroutines.
Yep. Quantum deflection. Use this stratagem when an enemy unit targets a vehicle in your army that has quantum shielding. No Monolith, no Obelisk. But before any hit rolls are made, until the end of the phase, subtract 1 from rolls made for your vehicle's quantum shielding ability. So technically, right, if you the Knight in combat wouldn't really do it, but it's in the shooting phase, right? So if you get hit with a damage 6 weapon, if you roll a 6, you subtract 1, becomes a 5, you ignore it. 1 command point.
Yep. Worth it for 1 command point.
Yeah, like las cannons, melters, everything. It's absolutely
handy for them. Like I say, it's handy for if you've got a Necron force that has a lot of vehicles in it that benefit from quantum shielding.
Self-destruction. Use this stratagem after a unit of Canoptek Scarabs from your army piles in, but before they make their close combat attack, select the Canoptek Scarab Swarm model in your unit and then pick an enemy unit that is within 1. Your Canoptek Scarab Swarm model is destroyed, remove it from the battlefield and roll a d6. On a 2+, the enemy suffers d3 mortal wounds.
Oh, I don't know about that.
If you've got an enemy character on like 2 wounds,
absolutely,
hell yes.
Yeah.
But otherwise I wouldn't, nah.
I suppose it's situational. It's 1 command point. If you've got that many, if you're using Scarabs, you're probably going to have a big blob of them. And to be honest, you want to keep them for the amount of attacks they can do.
Yeah. The next one, though. I like this.
Yes.
Extermination. Exterminate. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase before shooting with a Destroyer Lord, a unit of destroyers, or a unit of heavy destroyers from your army. Reroll failed hit rolls and wound rolls for that unit until the end of the phase. 1 command
point is an absolute steal.
You know what? I would happily pay 2 command points for that. I'm not going to. I'm going to pay 1. But, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it was 2, I would still use it.
Yeah, I would happily have 2 command points for that. But the fact that it's 1 command point,
I am going to have a big unit of destroyers and just go.
normal destroyers, as we said earlier. It's no point taking heavy destroyers now.
Plus, my will be done.
Yep, my will be done. Hitting you on your 2s, rerolling 1s. And also your wounds as well.
And then re-rolling 1s anyway because of the destroyer.
Yeah. But you're re-rolling. You're re-rolling all failed hits. So. You're re-rolling ones anyway.
I think that is.
But it's re-roll failed hit.
You can get there by other ways, right? The thing that it helps with is going against something that's toughness 7.
Yes.
That's what it helps with, because then you're only running on 5s. Disruption fields. Use this stratagem before a Necron infantry unit from your army fights in the fight phase. Increases strength characteristic of all models in that unit by 1. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I would use that on flappy arm guys.
Yeah, flayed ones.
Yes.
Yep. Increasing the strength hitting on strength 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really cool.
The fair ones will use this stratagem after an Overlord from your army has used my will be done or with a command. Use it again.
Now that's really cool. That negates that negates the point of taking Imotekh. So if you're not wanting it, if you're thinking, oh, I'm going to have to take him because I really want to do this ability, but he's a lot of points. One command.
Do you know when I would use that?
Anyway.
Do you know when I would use that? When I've moved 2 blobs of 20 warriors in the Method Dynasty forward because of the Night of the Deceiver, and I've moved the Lord up behind them. Oh, my will be done on both of them, and then suddenly I'm hitting on 2s.
Everybody listening to this is going to be dreaming and hearing the word Method.
Method.
One command point to do that as well.
Yeah, brilliant. Entropic Strike. Use this stratagem in the fight phase before a Necron character from your army fights. Invulnerable saves cannot be taken.
1 command point.
Destroy Lord, Void Reaper.
10 man block. Oh, it's currently, yes. However, you could, Destroy Lord. He's probably the best guy I can pick.
We've got a couple more to go through. We've got Dimensional Corridor. Use the stratagem at the start of your movement phase. Select a Dynasty infantry unit from your army that is more than an inch away from enemy models removed from the battlefield and set it up against them. It's wholly within 3 of a monolith. Basically, you can just Gate of Eternity Gate.
Yeah.
We've got Judgment of the Triarch. Use this stratagem before a unit of Triarch Praetorians in your army shoots in the shooting phase or fights in the fight phase. Add 1 to the to-hit rolls. I would probably, if I had Void Blade Praetorians, I would go for the +1 to hit maybes, because then you're hitting on 2s with all them extra attacks.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same as what I would go for, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say anything wrong with it, to be honest.
It's cool. If you've got Praetorians, it's pretty handy. We've got a couple of the actual Dynasty ones now. So, Sortek Stratagem. Methodical Destruction. Add 1 to the to-hit rolls for friendly Sortek units that target the same unit this phase after you've inflicted an unsaved wounds. I think Tau've got 1. Add 1 to the to-hit rolls. Yeah, the Tau have +1 to wound, and it's 3 command points. Reclaim a Lost Empire for Neelach. Use this stratagem at the end of your turn. Select a Neelach unit from your army. If the unit is within 3 of an objective marker or it did not move for any reason during this turn, then until the start of your next turn, you can add 1 to the saving throws for the unit increases attack characteristic by 1. That unit of 10 Lychguard.
Yeah.
With shields.
Yes, absolutely. So
3 up invulnerable.
3 up invulnerable.
With an extra attack.
Hang on, it's saving throws, so they get a standard 3 up anyway, don't they?
No, they'll get a 4. They get a 3 up.
Yeah.
Armor save becomes a 2 up armor save.
Yeah. So they would get a
2 up 1 up if it's in cover. But the invuln would only go to a 3 up.
Yeah, that's true. And a +1 attack as well.
Yep. Gravatic Singularity. We've got the thing for the obelisk with a pulsey thing with the flyers.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Use this stratagem when the start of your shooting phase. Select an obelisk from your army. When resolving this model's gravity pulse ability this phase, they suffer D3 mortal wounds on the roll of a 4+ instead of a 6. Cosmic Powers. Use this stratagem at the start of your moving phase. Select a C'tan shard from your army. The model can replace one of its powers of the C'tan with a different one. Cool.
1 command point might be worth it.
Yep. Translocation Crypt. Use this...
This is a Nephric stratagem.
Use a stratagem during deployment. You can set up a Nephric infantry or swarm unit in your army in the crypt instead of placing it on the battlefield. At the end of your moving phase, place it 9 inches away. So basically
deep strike.
Yeah. 3 command points, Novok, Blood Rights. Basically, have a unit fight again. It's alright, but
3 command points to do it though.
they're all 3 though. For all the other armies.
Yeah, but I mean, for Necrons, they've got some nice combat. Unless you build your force, and to be honest, with it being a Novok stratagem, you're gonna want to build your army to be combat orientated. So absolutely take that. If it was just a standard normal Necron stratagem, I wouldn't bother.
Yeah. And lastly, Talent for Annihilation, Mephrit. Use this stratagem before a Mephrit unit in your army attacks it in the shooting phase. Each time you make an unmodified roll of a 6 for a model in that unit, you can make 1 additional hit roll for that unit with the same weapon against the same target. Oh my god!
Yeah, that is really cool.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Depends what you're thinking.
Tesla.
Yes. Yeah, I was absolutely thinking Tesla.
Still with the +1 and then re-roll 1s. Now, the +1 won't help against that, but still you're fishing for 6s anyway. So the 6s will generate an extra 3, and the 5s will generate an extra 2.
Yeah. Yeah, Tesla's going to be brilliant in a Mephrit army.
And then pop them up 9 inches away because of the Deceiver.
Yes. Stick a Deceiver in.
So -1. -1 hitting on 2s, re-rolling 1s.
Yeah. 1 command point to do it.
I would do that every time.
Yeah. As often as I could use that, I would definitely do it.
Destroyers.
There's a lot of combos you could do with that. Yeah, Destroyers would be... Destroyers would be brutal with that.
Yeah. I am excited for this Codex, Stu.
I am, and I'm not a lucky person to be able to get it early, but I'll be picking this up on Saturday. And I can't wait to read it. You know me, I'm a massive fluff buff as well, so
yeah.
I can't wait to read everything about it and go into more detail and...
Read about Blackstone.
Yeah, it's just stone that's black. But yeah... No, I don't know too much. I've heard a little bit about, obviously, that they're trying... It sounds quite cool what they're trying to do with the whole story, with the whole Forgebane thing, that essentially that the Admech are kind of using the Blackstone to essentially knit together the Great Rift.
Yeah.
It sounds cool. Whether they pull it off or not will be left to see, but I can't wait to have a proper read on what dirty combos that you can do with this.
There is so many different combos that you can do. Going through that there is so many different things that you can do. And I think that what we've done is really, really quite cool because we've bounced a lot of ideas off each other. So, yeah, that's round off. We're probably at about 2.5 hours now.
Yeah, so...
Sorry.
Yep, we've been waffling on a bit.
But I hope you've enjoyed Stu being back round. Stu, it's been a pleasure having you around. Thank you very much for coming.
It's been a pleasure being back, mate. It's been far too long.
Of course, check out Battleforge Brothers on YouTube. I will post a link in the description below. But it is Necron Day if you're watching this on release day, so go and check out all the other Necron videos that are now available. And thank you very much for your support. We do appreciate it, and we'll see you again soon.
See you later, guys.